Chapter 23:31. The endless path river was sucked into Mystery's stomach. At this time, Mystery was controlling Su Fong. Su Fong could only watch all of this, but he could not do anything. Although it was Mystery who swallowed the path river, Su Fong felt that he had forcibly swallowed the path river. Moreover, it was the river of heavenly Tao's order that had been tainted by the resurrected expert. How could Su Fong not be frightened? His primordial spirit consciousness almost collapsed from fear. I actually swallowed a path river. After an unknown period of time, the path river was completely swallowed by Mystery. Then, Mystery floated out of Su Fong's body and condensed into a physical state. Su Fong also returned to his normal state and got rid of the feeling of being controlled. Just as he was about to ask, whoosh, Mystery's physical body suddenly collapsed layer by layer, turning into a dark river that flowed wantonly and instantly replaced the previous path river. At this time, the path river had become completely different. In the gloomy and cold river, numerous phantoms floated. Chilly winds blew, accompanied by the mournful cries of malicious spirits. It felt as if they had arrived at the legendary netherworld. As the river flowed, there was a supreme power of reincarnation flowing endlessly. The strong death chi in the tainted path river was merged and swallowed by the black river. Although the speed was not very fast, the death chi was indeed gradually weakening. Su Fong was shocked. "Senior, you can actually swallow the death chi in the path river?" Mystery's voice came from the dark river. "Didn't you hear what the resurrected Dizun said? I am the son of a celestial master, the supreme ruler of the 10 serenities." 10 serenities? There had always been legends of the 9 serenities, but Su Fong had never heard of the 10 serenities. Legend had it that the 9 serenities was once the deepest place in the world. It was dark and cold. After death, people would enter the path of reincarnation and go to the 9 serenities. However, that was just a legend. There was no 9 serenities in the current universe. The reincarnation after death had never been verified, so people believed that the 9 serenities did not exist. At the beginning of the Earth's birth, there were 10 divine suns in the highest part of the sky and the 10 serenities in the deepest part. The divine sun governs life, while the 10 underworlds governs death and reincarnation. As for me, I am the ruler of the 10 underworlds. In the 10 underworlds, the 9 underworlds each have their own duties, and the deepest part is where I live. Very few people know of my existence, so they all think that there is only the 9 underworlds. I was sealed in the prison suppressing codex by the old ghost, and the old ghost used the essence of the 9 underworlds to refine the origin sacred mirror. From then on, the cycle of life and death became chaotic. I myself am a part of the heavenly Tao. This corrupted Tao river is the river of order of the heavenly Tao. As for me, I am a netherworld samsara river. Samsara is also a type of supreme order of the heavenly Tao. That's why I can transform into the netherworld samsara river and fuse with the river of order of the heavenly Tao. This is something no transcendence can do. The 10 underworlds is the land of death and reincarnation. Although the aura of death is evil, it still belongs to the category of death. Thus, the aura of death can't do anything to me. It'll just take some time and effort. Su Fong was enlightened. So that's how it is. Fortunately, you are here. Otherwise, if the river of order of the heavenly Tao was corrupted, the heaven and earth would lose its order and fall into chaos. A world-ending catastrophe would be unavoidable. You snorted coldly. Have you forgotten that I was sealed in the prison suppressing codex by the old ghost as a chess piece? It's because the old ghost had already deduced that this day would come. A dignified transcendent, the supreme ruler of the 10 underworlds, was actually treated as a chess piece by the heavenly sovereign. Su Fong was shocked. It will take a long time for me to devour the aura of death in the Tao River with the netherworld Samsara River. After purifying the corrupted Tao River, I still have to follow the Tao River to its source and go to the Tao Sea. From there, I will enter the heavenly sovereign mountain to see what happened and whether the old ghost is still alive. You go first. Whoosh! A thick book flew out from the Tao River. It was the Prison Suppressing Codex. However, the Prison Suppressing Codex had become tattered. Not only were there traces of corrosion on the front and back cover, but the pages inside were also corroded. It was filled with an aura of death. Su Fong caught the Prison Suppressing Codex that flew over and asked in surprise, "Senior, what are you, kid? Since you have obtained the Origin Sacred Mirror and cultivated the Nine Suns transformation, it means that you have already become the successor of the old ghost. Whether the heavenly Tao will be destroyed, or whether the myriad of worlds will continue, I'm afraid that it will fall on your shoulders. I will leave the Heaven Supervisor token in your body and give you the Prison Suppressing Codex. Although these two divine artifacts of heavenly law have been corrupted by the aura of death, they are now ownerless items. It won't be difficult for the Nine Suns' true fire, the Origin Sacred Mirror, to refine the aura of death. The power of these two divine artifacts of heavenly law will definitely be greatly reduced. They will probably only be left with 1/10 of their original power. However, it is just right for the current you. Kid, work hard. I'm afraid you don't have much time left." Yu's voice faintly came from the Tao River. Immediately, a divine might enveloped Su Fong and sent him out of the Tao River. Su Fong felt as if he had returned to reality from a state of nothingness. As soon as he appeared, he immediately sensed the familiar natural aura of heaven and earth. "I'm finally out." Although he was temporarily unable to determine which star region he was in, Su Fong was still wild with joy and could not help but let out a long cry. It was too difficult. In the Prison Suppressing Codex, Su Fong originally thought that he had completely fallen into a desperate situation with no hope of survival. He did not expect that not only did he resolve a world-destroying crisis, but he also successfully escaped from the Tao River and returned to nature. Perhaps it was arranged by fate. If it were not for Su Fong's persistence and never giving up in a hopeless situation where he was bound to die, perhaps it would have been a different outcome. The Prison Suppressing Codex is finally in my hands. Su Fong flipped his hand and took out the Prison Suppressing Codex. Back then, the main purpose of entering the divine prison of heavenly law was to obtain the Prison Suppressing Codex. He did not expect. He originally thought that this would be a very simple experience, but so many things had happened. Carefully recalling this experience, Su Fong felt like he was dreaming. Luo Xingtian was already dead, so the bet back then was meaningless. It would be best if he could obtain the Luo clan's heavenly chessboard replica, but it did not matter if he could not. The Prison Suppressing Codex and the Heaven Supervisor token, as you said, indeed only have 1/10 of their power left. However, these two divine artifacts are supreme divine artifacts that monitor the heavenly Tao, surpassing any creation divine artifact. I'm afraid that no divine artifact other than the Origin Divine Mirror can compare to them. Even if only 1/10 of their power is left, these two divine artifacts are still incomparably powerful. The Prison Suppressing Codex can suppress experts, and any expert who refuses to submit will be suppressed by the Prison Suppressing Codex. When the time comes, they will have no choice but to submit to my will and obey my orders. The Heaven Supervisor token can allow me to easily control the power of the Heavenly Tao Order. If I can completely merge with it, I will become a supreme existence that controls the Heavenly Tao Order. With these two divine artifacts, even venerable emperors will not be able to stop me, Su Fong, from stepping onto the supreme peak. Su Fong exuded strong confidence and was in high spirits at this moment. Ever since he ascended to the divine world, Su Fong had been trembling in fear at all times due to his lack of foundation and background. Even after entering the Yuan Tiangong and being conferred the title of saint by the supreme existence of the imperial people, Su Fong still did not have the capital to contend with those ancient divine clans and forces, let alone a supreme venerable emperor. Now, in addition to the Prison Suppressing Codex and the Heaven Supervisor token, Su Fong had also subdued more than 2,000 experts, especially one of Yu's clones. His overall strength had skyrocketed, and he already had the strength to contend with venerable emperors. His gains from the trip to the divine prison of law were far more than that. In addition to obtaining the fruit of sin, the fruit of Tao planting, the God-slaying saber, and other spiritual items and treasures. In terms of cultivation, he had also advanced to the 8th heaven of the Tao integration stage, and his natal magic treasure had also been successfully born. However, these gains were nothing compared to the condensing of the 72nd Yang Meridian and stepping into the 8th transformation. After stepping into the 8th transformation, not only did he obtain a new seal, but he also gained the ability to control the Origin Sacred Mirror and understand more of its secrets. Due to the changes in the divine prison of law this time, everyone thought that I would definitely die. My family, friends, and subordinates in the Yuan Tiangong and the Origin Heaven must be under great pressure, especially Xuanxin. Thinking of his family and friends, Su Fong was eager to return home. Just as he was about to leave, Su Fong's divine light suddenly changed, and he looked over. At some point, an old man had appeared 1,000 feet away. Even with Su Fong's sensing ability, he could not sense his arrival. This old man seemed to have transcended the heavens and earth, mysterious and incomparably powerful. Seeing the old man's appearance, Su Fong's heart trembled. The Holy Maiden's adoptive father is another supreme being, the legendary supreme beings that transcended the heavens and earth. Since ancient times, how many of them have been born? Su Fong actually met 2 of them consecutively. It was no wonder that he was so shocked. I didn't expect that you would really defy the heavens. Something that even a supreme being could not do was actually done by you, a mere Tao integration cultivator. This is probably the will of the heavens. The old man's voice sounded in Su Fong's mind. The voice of the void, primordial spirit contained a hint of surprise and shock. Su Fong hurriedly cupped his fists and bowed. "Greetings, senior." The old man nodded and said, "Where's the Holy Maiden? Let her out." "Yes." Su Fong released Holy Maiden Luo from his body. Adoptive father, Holy Maiden Luo, was pleasantly surprised. The old man's cold voice echoed in Holy Maiden Luo's mind. "Little girl, I'll let you be willful this time. There won't be a next time. Also, don't forget what I told you before you enter the prison suppression codex." Holy Maiden Luo's eyes quickly dimmed. She looked at Su Fong, wanting to say something but hesitated. Finally, she said, "Su Fong, you go. I'll go with adoptive father." Su Fong revealed a reluctant expression and said, "Let's meet again when we return to Yuan Tiangong." "When we return to Yuan Tiangong, I'm afraid we'll already be strangers." Holy Maiden Luo sighed in her heart. "QL 11-inch little girl, let's go." The old man said casually. His tone was filled with supreme dignity. Su Fong, Holy Maiden Luo, stretched out her right hand and drew a circle in the air with her index finger. It rapidly transformed into a biscuit. With a light stroke of her finger, the biscuit split into 2. Chapter 23:32. Goddess Luo took a deep look at Su Fong, as if she wanted to remember Su Fong's appearance in her heart. The moment she turned around, tears welled up in her eyes. Then, the elder took Goddess Luo and disappeared into the void. QL11 buzz. 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 The mysterious Tao rune from the life shrinking technique suddenly flashed rapidly in Su Fong's mind. This time, it was not because someone was sensing his destiny aura. Instead, it was the fate and karma that existed between him and Goddess Luo. It was being ruthlessly severed by an extremely powerful and invisible force. Then, all the information about Goddess Luo slowly became blurry from Su Fong's memory. It's Goddess' foster father. He actually cut off the destiny karma between Goddess Luo and me. Why? Why did he do that? Su Fong could not help but be shocked. Then, anger rose in his heart as a sharp aura exploded from his body. Although Goddess Luo's foster father had saved Su Fong's life in the prison suppressing codex, it did not mean that he could control Su Fong's destiny as he wished. No one can change Su Fong's destiny. Destiny is the creation of destiny and controls the heavenly secrets. If I want to live, the heavens cannot take it away. Life shrinking technique. Su Fong did not hesitate to use the life-shrinking technique to fight against the invisible force that was cutting off his destiny karma. Although the life-shrinking technique was an extremely powerful destiny superpower, it was not omnipotent. The main reason was that Su Fong's cultivation was too low. Now, he was facing an unparalleled expert that came from beyond the heavens and the universe. Facing such a powerful existence, Su Fong was like an ant trying to shake a towering tree. The Tao runes burned wildly in the divine aperture and the surroundings. Su Fong's life force was also being consumed rapidly. His face was aging at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was as if time had sped up on him countless times. From the age of 17 or 18, he quickly became a middle-aged man, then an elder. However, Su Fong's eyes were flashing with madness and persistence. The experience in the Illusion Annihilation Executioner Mirror was an illusion, but it was real in the Suppressing Hell Codex. For the sake of Su Fong, Goddess Luo entered the Prison Suppression Codex without hesitation, even though she knew it was a dead end. She wanted to accompany him through the last moments of his life. At this moment, her adoptive father wanted to sever the karma of fate between her and Su Fong. This was equivalent to forcibly erasing Goddess Luo from Su Fong's fate. This was even more severe than directly killing Goddess Luo. At this moment, Su Fong did not care about anything else. His only thought was to keep Goddess Luo in his fate at all costs. However, everything was difficult to reverse. Before a transcendent level expert, Su Fong seemed incomparably insignificant and weak. No divine ability could change anything. With the loss of his life force, Su Fong's consciousness became blurry. Out of nowhere, Goddess Luo's godfather's thunderous voice rang out. Su Fong, do you want to die? If there is no woman I love in my fate, what joy is there in life? Why do I have to die? Su Fong replied telepathically with a smile on his face. Goddess Luo's godfather shouted angrily, Fool! Goddess Luo came to this part of the universe with a mission. She cannot be tainted by the karma of fate with the people in this part of the universe. Otherwise, she will definitely die. This is her fate. No one can change it. I can only tell you this much. You have to think carefully. Fate, Su Fong muttered and subconsciously gave up resisting. Everything about Goddess Luo rapidly faded from Su Fong's memories until they disappeared. Even if it is fate, I will defy the heavens and change my fate. At the last moment, Su Fong suddenly felt a surge of determination deep in his heart. He used the Heaven Secret Life shrinking technique again. It was not to resist the elder and forcefully retain the karma of fate between Goddess Luo and himself. Instead, it was to seal the half-piece of cake's mental image deep in his fate. At this moment, he could not change anything. However, one day, Su Fong swore to reverse time. He would go back to before today and recover all his memories. Then, Su Fong wanted to defy the heavens and change the fate between him and Goddess Luo. I really don't know if you're foolish or stubborn. Goddess Luo's godfather sighed faintly. His voice disappeared from Su Fong's mind. After a long time, Su Fong slowly opened his eyes. There was a blank look in his eyes. Everything that happened just now and everything that happened between him and Goddess Luo had completely disappeared from his memory. However, there was still a vicious aura in his heart. The intense pain of losing something important in his life still existed clearly. I am still too weak. Su Fong could not recall what had happened. However, he knew that a peerless expert had erased his memories. I have to recover quickly and return to Yuan Tiangong. I cannot let anything happen to Father, Xuanxin, and the others. The feeling of losing something important in his life made Su Fong shudder. He hurriedly took out several blood crystals. They were formed from the life essence of the ferocious beast he killed in the prison suppressing codex. He could use them to recover his lost lifespan. In a star region far away from the Hunyuan heaven, there was a small realm called Uefu. At this moment, the Uefu god realm was surrounded by countless experts of the demonic path and the evil path. They were madly attacking the realm barrier of the god realm. Before the upheaval, the demonic path and the evil path were not tolerated by the righteous path. However, the two were not one. On the contrary, the demonic path and the evil path were evil and violent because of the cultivation techniques they cultivated. The two sides constantly clashed with each other. After the upheaval, especially after the heavenly Tao lost its order, the worlds in the universe fell into chaos. The demonic path and the evil path often joined forces to attack the God realm. This time, not only did the demonic path and the evil path have many people attacking the UFO God realm, but there were also powerful experts among them. Under the repeated attacks, the realm barrier of the God realm crumbled layer by layer. It looked like it would not be long before they broke through. Everyone in the UFO God realm fell into panic and despair. Hold on, just hold on for a few more days. The experts of the Yuan Tiangong will come to rescue us. In the center of the UFO God realm, on a floating mountain, a young man, who was protected by many experts, looked at the world barrier that was about to be breached with a terrified look on his face as he yelled out loudly, "Young Master Taiyuan, I'm afraid the experts of the Yuan Tiangong won't be able to save us this time." An old man beside the young man said in a low voice. The youth clenched his teeth. "I am an Earth realm genius of Primordius Heavenly Palace, and my great-grandfather is an unsurpassed Empyrean, an unsurpassed existence that controls Primordius Heavenly Palace. How could Primordius Heavenly Palace not save me?" So, the young man's name was Ji Taiyuan. He was a genius born in the Ji people. He was also a direct descendant of the Ji people's first ancestor. Due to the Su Fong, the Ji people's talent had withered. Although Ji Taiyuan's talent was extraordinary, it was nothing compared to the Yuan Tiangong realm. After the Ji people's first ancestor became a sovereign, he personally cleansed Ji Taiyuan's body and helped him quickly increase his cultivation. Currently, Ji Taiyuan had already reached the seventh heaven of the ultimate God realm. After that, the Ji people's first ancestor personally helped Ji Taiyuan get a spot in the Yuan Tiangong realm. Every Yuan Tiangong genius had to complete a basic mission within a set time limit. Ji Taiyuan came to the UFO God realm this time to complete the mission. The UFO God realm originally didn't have any resurrected experts. Compared to the other chaotic star fields in the universe, it was very safe. Furthermore, the Ji people sent many experts to protect Ji Taiyuan this time. This mission was supposed to be the golden opportunity. But who knew, after Ji Taiyuan completed the mission, he couldn't pull himself out of the UFO God realm. When he was about to leave, he was surrounded by the experts of the Devil Tao and the Evil Tao. The old man sighed and said, "Right now, the universe is in chaos. Even the Hunyuan Heaven realm is in chaos. Lord Emperor Ji can't leave without permission. The Yuan Tiangong also won't send experts to save the disciples who are out for training. Young Master Taiyuan, have you forgotten? Back then, when peerless geniuses like Di Yuan and Su Fong met with misfortune in the divine prison of law, the Yuan Tiangong didn't send experts to save them. Su Fong? Di Yuan? Su Fong, a dead genius. What kind of genius is he? As for Di Yuan, he is just a piece of trash. He lost his only chance to enter the exalted celestial mountain and cause the universe to fall into chaos." Ji Taiyuan snorted and snorted at Su Fong. Su Fong and Di Yuan also looked at each other with disdain. Su Fong. Ji Taiyuan looked at the three experts who accompanied him to protect him. The corners of his mouth curled up, and his deep eyes exuded coldness. Among the three people, one was an old man. He was tall and sturdy, with a square face and a powerful aura. He was Su Fong's guard, Fan Ming. The other one was a middle-aged man in a green robe. His eyes were sharp, and his face was filled with killing intent. He was Qin Yu in human form. The other one was a young girl in white. She was Bai Ling. It turned out that when the Ji people's first ancestor became a peerless, supreme, venerable, and took control of the Hunyuan Heaven realm, Qin Yu and Bai Ling were worried about the safety of Su Fong's family. Therefore, they left the Yuan Tiangong and returned to the Central Realm. This time, when Ji Taiyuan went out for training, The G people used their official position for personal gain and transferred many experts from the Hunyuan Heaven Realm to protect him. The Central Realm was also asked to send experts to accompany him. Although they said that they were going to protect Ji Taiyuan, everyone knew that the G people were planning to kill Su Fang's former subordinates during the training. They were going to find an opportunity to slowly weaken the Central Realm and eventually annex it. At this time, the G people were controlling the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. The Central Realm's power was weakened again and again. In order to not give the G people an excuse, they had to obey the G people's orders. To be on the safe side, the Central Realm sent experts Fan Ming, Qing Yu, and Bai Ling this time. The three of them were not only powerful, but Qing Yu's speed was even more shocking. She also had the innate ability to transform into a koan. This made the G people unable to find an opportunity to attack during this training. We have to be careful. That little bastard Ji Taiyuan is probably going to attack us again. Chapter 23:33. Qing Yu replied, "Humph. If it wasn't for the fact that Su Fang's family is in the Fang Heaven world, I would have swallowed this brat. He is just a piece of trash from the G people. How can he be so arrogant in front of me? I wonder how Su Fang is doing now. If his second primordial spirit says that he is fine, then he must be fine. Let's wait for a few more days. When he returns to the Yuan Tiangong, let's see how arrogant the G people can be." But the G people have the supreme god. No matter how powerful Su Fang is, how can he fight against the supreme god? Qing Yu and Bai Ling fell into silence when they talked about the supreme god of the G people. They felt like they were facing a mountain that they could only look up at. The supreme god was like the heavenly Tao. No one could surpass them. Even the arrogant and ferocious big goblin had to be in awe of the supreme god. "Everyone, listen to my orders." After Ji Taiyuan communicated with the old man from the G people using his primordial spirit, he shouted at his subordinates. Looking at Qing Yu, Bai Ling, and Fan Ming, Ji Taiyuan shouted, "The three of you break out of the encirclement towards the southeast. You are responsible for attracting the attention of the demon Tao and the evil Tao." "What?" Qing Yu, Bai Ling, and Fan Ming's eyes flickered as they were enraged. Why was this happening? There was a group of evil Tao forces in the southeast of the Yufu God world. It was not an ordinary evil Tao force. It was the infamous Shura race that once dominated the universe. The Shura race was born from blood. They loved to kill. They devoured the blood of humans and big goblin to strengthen themselves. Not only were they powerful, but they were also extremely evil. If it wasn't for the fact that the Shura race had very few members, they would have surpassed the demon race and become the most evil race in the universe. The Shura race experts that surrounded the Yu-Fu God world were all very powerful. Previously, Ji Taiyuan had sent a powerful expert to test the waters. In the end, a powerful expert at the late stage of the Tao integration stage was devoured alive by an Azura powerhouse, leaving only a piece of skin and a pile of rotten bones. Ji Taiyuan had ordered Qing Yu, Bai Ling, and Fan Ming to break out of the encirclement from the southeast. It was clear that he wanted them to be cannon fodder and draw the attention of the Shura and other evil and devil Tao experts, so that Ji Taiyuan could escape. Fan Ming was burning with anger. He shouted, "Young Master Ji, don't go too far. Are you going to disobey my orders?" Ji Taiyuan looked at the three of them coldly. Soon after, he coldly shouted in a domineering manner, "You dare to disobey my orders. Not only will you not be able to escape death, but the heaven realm will also be severely punished. You should think clearly about the consequences." Fan Ming gritted his teeth, but he could only swallow his anger. Luo's blood-red eyes scanned those demon Tao and evil Tao cultivators and said casually, "These two big goblin and this human cultivator are this king's friends. Go now." Although those demon Tao and evil Tao cultivators were unwilling, they were afraid of Luo and the demon monkey's strength and could only leave in embarrassment. Fan Ming was dumbfounded, completely stupefied. "Two little guys, How have you been? Luo laughed heartily at Qingyu and Bai Ling. He was very happy. So, the demon monkey and Su Fang's subordinates went to pick up their relatives from the macro world, but they encountered Luo, who was being chased by Azuras. So the demon monkey came to Luo's rescue and helped him escape from the pursuit. After that, Azuras pursued Luo relentlessly. Several of Su Fang's subordinates were all killed in battle. In the escape, the demon monkey devoured countless Azuras, big goblin, and cultivators, and became more and more powerful. After Luo merged with his physical body, he quickly recovered his powerful strength and even improved a lot. At the same time, he also subdued many loyal clansmen and gradually gained his own power. Hearing that Su Fang died in the divine prison of law, Luo was anxious and rushed to the Hunyuan heaven realm with the demon monkey and his subordinates. When passing through the UFO realm, they were invited by the evil Dao cultivators to hunt down the Yuan Tiangong genius, Ji Taiyuan. Luo was anxious to find out about Su Fang, so he wanted to capture Ji Taiyuan alive, but he did not expect to meet Qingyu and Bai Ling. From Qingyu, he learned that Su Fang's whereabouts were unknown, but he was not dead. Only then did Luo feel relieved. In fact, Su Fang's yang spirit lived in the demon monkey's divine aperture. If Su Fang's original body died, the yang spirit would definitely sense it. Luo had long guessed that Su Fang would be fine, but he was still a little worried. Hearing what happened to Qingyu, Bai Ling, and Fan Ming, Su Fang's yang spirit spoke in a domineering voice from the demon monkey's body. I didn't expect that the G people would have a chance to turn over a new leaf. But so what? If Su Fang can trample on the G people once, then I can trample on the G people a second time. Luo Weiran said, the G people have given birth to a supreme sovereign at this time. He is not someone you can fight against at this time. Why don't you take your father, other relatives, and friends out of the Hunyuan heaven realm and follow this king to find a place to settle down in the myriad worlds? Su Fang nodded and said, everything will wait until there is news from the original body. Let's go and kill the so-called genius of the G people and collect some interest first. Chapter 23:34. Ji Taiyuan fought his way out of the encirclement. Only the old man from the G people was left by his side. Not only were all the experts and guards killed by the experts of the Devil Dao and the Evil Dao, but Ji Taiyuan also lost a talisman given to him by the G people's first ancestor to save his life. If it wasn't for the talisman personally created by the G people's first ancestor, Ji Taiyuan wouldn't have been able to escape this calamity. He would have been devoured by the experts of the Devil Dao and the Evil Dao, just like the others. I've finally escaped. This time, I'll return to the Yuan Tiangong. I'll never leave the Earth Realm Dao Hall again. Ji Taiyuan wiped the sweat off his forehead and looked in the direction of the Moon Fortune divine world with lingering fear. QL-11, the old man from the G people, was also very glad. Young master, there are dangers everywhere in the universe. It's better for you to return to the Yuan Tiangong as soon as possible to avoid any more accidents. Suddenly, the old man from the G people's divine light changed instantly. This person's cultivation was extraordinary. He was a powerful expert of the Domain Lord realm. His senses were very strong, and he could sense the abnormalities in the void. A huge green pung split opened the void and came out like a big fish swimming in the water. The demon rock under Su Fang, Ji Taiyuan revealed an expression of disbelief. You're still alive after being chased by the Azura experts? Young Master Ji is still alive, so how can I die? The green rock returned to his human form and said coldly. Then he spat out several figures. The old man from the G people and Ji Taiyuan were dumbfounded when they saw the Azura and the demon monkey, as well as the Azura experts. Then Ji Taiyuan shouted, you colluded with the Azura? Aren't you afraid that the Fang Tian world will be destroyed by the supreme sovereign of my race? No one will know after I kill you. Sooner or later, I'll destroy the G people with my own hands. An essence spirit flew out of the demon monkey's divine aperture and quickly turned into a yang spirit. It was almost identical to Su Fang in his physical state. Su Fang, There wasn't a single person in the Ji clan who didn't recognize Su Fong. When they saw Su Fong's sun spirit, it wasn't just Ji Taiyuan. The old man from the Ji clan also turned pale and began to tremble. To the Ji people, Su Fong was a nightmare. Except for the Ji people's supreme sovereign, no one from the Ji people was not afraid of Su. It's just Su Fong's yang spirit. How much trouble can it cause? Su Fong's essence spirit wasn't Fong's real body. Fong's Taiyang spirit was relieved, and he sighed. Su Fangyang coldly glanced at Ji Taiyuan and the old man from the Ji clan with a disdainful attitude. He then gave the order to the demon monkey that was filled with killing intent. Kill them, Ji Taiyuan shouted. The supreme sovereign of my race is my great-grandfather. Su Fong, if you dare to kill me, the Ji Emperor will bury the entire Fong Tian world with me. He was confident that he had the support of a supreme sovereign. Even in the face of death, he was still arrogant. He believed that Su Fong wouldn't dare to kill him. Young Master Taiyuan, leave quickly. I'll use my divine abode to hold them back. The old man from the Ji people wasn't as naive as Ji Taiyuan. He immediately ignited his own body and unleashed the maximum power that a Dao integration stage cultivator could unleash. Invisible sound waves swept out and turned into a world filled with heavenly sounds. Heavenly Fire Divine Lord, I swear I'll kill you. The demon monkey let out a violent and ferocious roar. The space between his eyebrows suddenly split open. A divine shadow leaped out and instantly swept across the sky. It transformed into a huge staff and smashed toward Ji Taiyuan and the old man from the Ji people with a terrifying aura that could shatter heaven and earth. The old man from the Ji people's heavenly sound world instantly collapsed. The defense he had unleashed only lasted for a moment before it was smashed into pieces by the huge staff. The old man and Ji Taiyuan were also smashed into meat paste in an instant. Then they were completely devoured by the demon monkey. Although the demon monkey was an immortal blood spirit created by Su Fong, it possessed the innate divine powers it had when it was alive. Not only was it ferocious, but it was also extremely powerful. Almost no one below the Dao integration stage could withstand one of its attacks. Luo raised his eyebrows. He was also a little wary of such a terrifying and ferocious demon monkey. Bai Ling said reluctantly, "It's too easy for him to kill that brat just like that." Su Fong said disdainfully, "He's just an ant among the Ji people. It's not worth spending too much effort on him." Suddenly, a wisp of ethereal and mysterious energy turned into a strange Dao rune. It suddenly appeared around Su Fong's yang spirit like a thunderbolt. The divine light of Su Fong's yang spirit changed instantly. Immediately, a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. Luo asked in surprise, "Su Fong, what happened?" Su Fong's yang spirit said with a smile, "It's the original body. It has escaped from the prison suppression codex and obtained a great opportunity." It turned out that Su Fong's original body had used the divine life shrinking technique to sense this yang spirit. Extraordinary, really extraordinary. He was able to escape from a hopeless situation where he was bound to die. As soon as this brat comes back, the Yuan Tiangong will be lively. Luo's blood-red eyes revealed a look of disbelief as he praised repeatedly. Qingyu, Bai Ling, Fan Ming, and the others were all surprised and delighted. Let's go to the Hunyuan Heaven Realm and meet up with the original body. Everyone was sucked into Qingyu's stomach, including Luo's Azura subordinates. Then, Qingyu used his innate ability and traveled through the void. The Hunyuan Heaven Realm. Outside the world barrier, a city wall created with supreme magical power surrounded the entire Hunyuan Heaven Realm. The Black City Wall was integrated with the void and the world barrier of the Hunyuan Heaven Realm by a powerful formation. It was incomparably solid. Unless a supreme sovereign personally took action, no one could shake it. Countless fortresses were built on the city wall, and all kinds of huge defensive divine weapons could be seen everywhere. This unique city wall was the first line of defense of the Hunyuan Heaven Realm, the Blood Wall. In front of the city wall, countless corpses floated. There were gods, but most of them were resurrected cultivators big goblin and demons. They floated in the void, gathering into a sea of death. The aura of death and the smell of decay permeated the void, as if they had arrived at the 9th level of hell. At this time, there were countless resurrected experts, like locusts, swarming towards the blood wall. From the blood wall, wave after wave of powerful attacks were released, bombarding the resurrected experts. However, there were too many resurrected experts, and they charged towards the blood wall dauntlessly. The gods guarding the blood wall had no choice but to fight their way out of the blood wall and engage in a life-and-death battle with the resurrected experts. Ever since the order of the heavenly Tao was thrown into chaos and the myriad worlds fell into chaos, the resurrected experts seemed to be inexhaustible as they launched endless attacks on the humans. At this moment, the scene on the Crimson Wall was playing out almost every day. It would appear in every god realm. The gods guarding the blood wall were not only Yuan Tiangong experts, but also deities sent by the major factions of the Han Yuan heaven realm. According to the decree of the Ji people's first ancestor, each faction was responsible for guarding a section of the blood wall. If the section was breached, the entire faction would be driven out of the Han Yuan heaven realm. In the beginning, in order to protect their last place of survival, every cultivator did not hesitate to die and fight to the end. But now, everyone had fallen into a state of complete despair and had fallen into a state of numbness. Di Yuan had failed at the exalted celestial mountain. The destruction of heaven and earth was inevitable. The entire heavenly Tao would be engulfed by the catastrophe, and no one would be lucky enough to survive. Other than escaping to Yuan Tiangong, where they could continue to struggle at death's door, the Han Yuan heaven realm would be conquered by the resurrected experts sooner or later. Therefore, the morale of all the cultivators had fallen to the lowest point. If it were not for the Yuan Tiangong experts, the blood wall's defensive line would have collapsed by itself. Whoosh! A section of the blood wall was breached by the resurrected experts. It's the section of the blood wall that the Sky Realm is in charge of. According to the decree of the Ji Emperor, any faction that breaks the blood wall will be driven out of the Han Yuan heaven realm. The people of the Sky Realm are doomed this time. The Su Fong was so arrogant in the past. The Sky Realm has only themselves to blame for falling to such a state. The section of the blood wall that was breached was the responsibility of the Sky Realm. Countless resurrected experts charged towards the blood wall and engaged in a chaotic battle with the cultivators on the blood wall. If it were any other place that had been breached, there would immediately be experts from the nearby defensive line coming to support. However, when the Sky Realm's defensive line was breached, the cultivators on both sides of the blood wall were laughing at this scene. None of them came to support. Boom! An ethereal primordial spirit's divine power swept across the blood wall like raging waves. The resurrected experts who had rushed up to the blood wall were like wheat being blown by a gust of wind, falling down in droves. However, the Sky Realm cultivators guarding the city were all safe and sound. It could be seen that the expert who used the divine power of the primordial spirit had exquisite control over the power of the primordial spirit. Master is mighty. Su Fong is mighty. The Sky Realm cultivators shouted loudly. Their spirits were lifted, and they killed the resurrected experts who charged towards the blood wall one by one. It was Su Fong's second primordial spirit that had made a move. Kill. Su Fong's second primordial spirit, who was residing in the body of the fiend god monster, let out a voice full of killing intent and directly charged out of the blood wall. Boom! The power of yin and yang, which was the fusion of the fiend god power, suddenly erupted and formed a world with a radius of 10,000 miles. The resurrected experts were all killed by the power of yin and yang in the world of the second primordial spirit. The second primordial spirit once again activated the power of the primordial spirit. Waves of primordial spirit sword energy swept out like raging waves. The army of resurrected experts in front of the blood wall instantly became much smaller. The power of the primordial spirit surpassed that of the Tao integration realm and even the average master god. G people, Sanskrit, Big Dipper sect. The fiend god monster looked at the cultivators who were watching the show on both sides of the Sky Realm's defensive line, his eyes surging with intense killing intent. As it turned out, the G people had deliberately arranged for the Sky Realm to be between the Brahma Heaven Realm's Sanskrit and Big Dipper sect's defensive line. Moreover, of the masters that Primordius Heavenly Palace sent out, the defensive lines of the other influences all had peerless sovereign gods presiding over them. Of the Primordius Heavenly Palace masters guarding the defensive lines of this celestial world, the strongest one was a region lord. What was especially hateful was that not only did Sanskrit and Big Dipper sect not lend a hand, they even deliberately drove the resurrected experts towards the Sky Realm. This caused the Sky Realm to be under pressure several times that of the other forces. This caused the Sky Realm's experts to suffer heavy losses in recent years. They had no choice but to defend the Blood Wall. Otherwise, they would give the G people an excuse and the Sky Realm would be in danger. Suddenly, Chapter 23:35. In the deepest part of Yuan Tiangong, the Sanctum of Sages floated in the chaotic space. Di Yuan lay weakly on the throne in the main hall, as if his soul had been sucked out. He had lost his backbone, and his spirit was dispirited and listless. The former imperial people's young master Zun was nowhere to be seen at this moment. Failed. Di Yuan actually failed. Heaven and earth worship me, and all living beings revere me. Everything has brushed past me. It's all over. Heaven and earth are about to be destroyed, and I will die with heaven and earth. Su Fong. Even the supreme existence of my race thinks that I'm inferior to Su Fong. Di Yuan, am actually inferior to a dead genius. Ever since he returned from the celestial Worthy Mountain, Di Yuan had been immersed in this state of depression, as if he was a living dead. The failure of the celestial Worthy Mountain was too great a blow to him. He was unable to recover from the setback and fell into depravity. He became very suspicious, afraid of the way others looked at him, and even more afraid of others talking about him behind his back. Thus, he sealed himself in the Sanctum of Sages. At this moment, Di Yuan have become the center of the entire universe. I have become the laughingstock of everyone. No, Di Yuan must not sink into depravity like this. I must pull myself together. I must not become the laughingstock of others. Di Yuan barely managed to pull himself together. Using the divine might of the Sanctum of Sages, he prepared to contact the Ashen Flame Sea. Every movement of the guards in the Sanctum of Sages was instantly sensed by him. The only chance to open the celestial Worthy Mountain was wasted by Di Yuan. It's over, it's all over. If it was Saint Su Fong, he would definitely be able to enter the celestial Worthy Mountain successfully. Perhaps it would be a different situation now. Saint Su Fong has been cultivating diligently in the Sanctum of Sages. Our current saint only knew how to use the Sanctum of Sages to show off his power. Now, he is sighing the main hall all day long. How can he be compared with Saint Su Fong? Hearing the discussions of those guards, Di Yuan's face instantly turned as pale as paper, and his body trembled violently. I heard that a few days ago, Phoenix Xuanqin passed the 70th floor of the 10,000 spell tower, causing a sensation in the Yuan Tiangong. As expected of a woman from Su Fong, even at a time like this, she still refuses to give up. This is a true cultivator. Our holy son can't even compare to Su Fong's Taoist companion. How can he compare to Su Fong? Hearing this, a sharp killing intent flashed in Di Yuan's eyes, following which, Zhang Xian raised his hand and made a grabbing motion, and 3 guards who were in the midst of a discussion in one of the side halls were forcefully pulled into the main hall. How dare you talk about me behind my back? Death! Di Yuan let out a thunderous shout. From the void of the main hall, streaks of astonishing lightning surged out and swiftly bombarded the 3 guards. A series of thunderous rumbles engulfed the 3 of them. When the lightning disappeared, the 3 of them had already turned into a pile of ashes. Di Yuan's anger had yet to subside. The sea of ashen flames. Song Yanhai entered the main palace in a flash. "Saint, what are your orders?" Seeing the ashes on the ground and sensing the terrifying lightning aura that still permeated the main hall, the divine light in Song Yinhai's eyes changed slightly. These are the guards you trained? How dare you talk about me behind my back? Do you still have me in your eyes? Di Yuan was burning with rage. He activated the Sanctum of Sage's divine power and ruthlessly bombarded Song Yinhai. Song Yinhai was an upper-tier chief god. His strength was indeed extraordinary. However, at this moment, he did not dare to resist in the slightest. Under the terrifying pressure of the Sanctum of Sages, he knelt on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. "Saint, please calm down," Song Yinhai said in a trembling voice. "Oomph." Di Yuan ignored Song Yinhai. Looking outside the main hall, incomparable resentment surged in his eyes. "Su Fong, you've already died, yet you keep shaking my Taoist heart. Then I'll make sure you won't be able to rest in peace even after you die." Song Yinhai did not dare to answer. Di Yuan shouted, "Ask the Divine Phoenix Clan's leader to come and see me immediately." Song Yinhai hesitated. "Saint, what are you?" Di Yuan sneered. "I'm going to propose a marriage alliance to the Divine Phoenix Clan and let Huang Xuanxin become my cultivation partner. Within a month, I'm going to hold a marriage ceremony." "Ah!" Song Yinhai was dumbfounded. He was shocked. However, when he saw Di Yuan's crazy appearance, he swallowed the words of advice that were about to come out of his mouth. 3 days later, the news of Di Yuan's marriage alliance with the heavenly realm Tao Sanctum's genius, Huang Xuanxin, quickly spread throughout the entire Yuan Tiangong. Huang Xuanxin is Su Fong's cultivation partner. Su Fong just died not long ago, and Di Yuan can't wait to marry Huang Xuanxin. This is too much. He's crazy. This Di Yuan obviously failed to enter the heavenly worthy mountain and wants to vent his anger. What right does such a person have to become the Yuan Tiangong saint? Why would Huang Xuanxin agree to the marriage alliance with Di Yuan? I heard that not only did Di Yuan force the Divine Phoenix Clan, but he also sent experts to shackle Huang Xuanxin's grandfather and Su Fong's father. If Huang Xuanxin did not agree, not only would the Divine Phoenix Clan suffer, but even Huang Xuanxin and Su Fong's relatives would be in trouble. How could she not agree? Su Fong was so arrogant and domineering back then. What about now? His cultivation partner is going to become someone else's woman. Serve him right. The news caused a huge commotion in the Yuan Tiangong. Some people were angry at Di Yuan's actions and even criticized the imperial people. Of course, there was no lack of people who were gloating. Just as this matter was causing an uproar, in the palace where the power of the Yuan Tiangong was concentrated, the supreme existence of the imperial people suddenly summoned all the venerable sovereigns. Ever since Di Yuan failed to enter the heavenly worthy mountain, the supreme existence of the imperial people had also fallen into silence. The venerable sovereigns were also in complete despair and had made plans to stay in the Yuan Tiangong. Now that the supreme existence of the imperial people suddenly summoned all the venerable sovereigns, there must be another major event that would affect the outside world. In the palace, streams of primordial spirit consciousness quickly descended, condensing into the clones of the supreme sovereigns. Every supreme sovereign had a gloomy expression, mentally preparing for the worst. "Everyone, this is good news." The supreme existence of the imperial people actually smiled, looking unprecedentedly relaxed. "Good news? The world is about to be destroyed. What good news can there be? Could it be that the supreme heavenly venerables have awakened?" The venerable sovereigns were all surprised, and there was a burst of discussion. Recently, the mountain guardian discovered that the river of heavenly order, which had been corrupted by the deathly aura, is gradually returning to normal. The deathly aura in the river of path is quickly purified, and the world is naturally returning to normal. Although the reason is unknown, one thing is certain. The world will naturally return to order soon. The chaos is about to end, and a catastrophe will be resolved. The mountain guardians speculated that Di Yuan must have broken into the heavenly worthy mountain and triggered some of the restrictions inside, causing the river of path to restore itself. Therefore, Di Yuan's trip to the heavenly worthy mountain was not a failure. At least, it was half a success. The supreme existence of the imperial people's words caused the venerable sovereigns to fall into a state of intense shock. Then, their eyes lit up, and they were both surprised and delighted. Good news! It was indeed good news. The venerable sovereigns discussed animatedly, and all of them were greatly spirited, sweeping away the depression and decadence they had felt since the failure of the heavenly worthy mountain. Emperor Sangxiu and Emperor Yi Dao looked at each other. Originally, they had planned to say a few words for Xuanxin, but at this moment, Di Yuan had become the savior of all the worlds. Anything they said was meaningless. The venerable sovereigns of the fire god, Zhu clan, suddenly spoke. I have something to ask the supreme existence of the imperial people for a favor. The supreme existence of the imperial people said majestically, Speak. Huang Xuanxin was once Su Fang's cultivation partner. Di Yuan is now forcefully forcing Huang Xuanxin to marry him, and it is unavoidably disappointing. My fire god, Zhu clan, owes Su Fang a favor. I hope that the supreme existence of the imperial people can persuade Di Yuan to give up on the marriage. The supreme existence of the imperial people said casually, I have also heard of this matter. This is a small matter between the divine Phoenix ancient clan and the imperial people. I will not interfere, and it is best that the fire god Zhu clan does not interfere. Then he smiled faintly. Moreover, Di Yuan has saved the worlds and made great contributions. She is just a woman from the divine Phoenix ancient clan. After he finished speaking, his figure disappeared from the throne without a trace. The venerable sovereigns of the fire god, Zhu clan, snorted and also disappeared. The news that the world was about to end the chaos quickly spread throughout the Yuan Tiangong and the Hunyuan heaven realm. Everyone fell into a state of shock and ecstasy. It was like a drowning person suddenly grasping at the last straw. How could they not be overjoyed? Di Yuan, like a divine sun rising in the sky, he shone brightly and received everyone's respect. As for the matter of him forcing Xuanxin to marry him, not only did people not think that he was overbearing or crazy, but they also felt that the divine Phoenix ancient clan and Xuanxin had gotten a great deal this time. It made people jealous. Heavenly Realm Dojo. Xuanxin sealed herself in the dojo. Ever since she knew that Di Yuan had proposed a marriage alliance with the divine Phoenix ancient clan and that the divine Phoenix ancient clan had agreed, she had not seen anyone. Outside the dojo, the clan leader of the divine Phoenix ancient clan and Xuanxin's master were guarding the dojo to prevent Xuanxin from escaping. When the news of Di Yuan saving the world spread, the clan leader of the divine Phoenix ancient clan was overjoyed. Di Yuan was originally the saint of the Yuan Tiangong and the #1 genius. This time, he had made such a great contribution. It was not hard to imagine what kind of future he would have in the future. The marriage alliance between Xuanxin and Di Yuan was equivalent to the divine Phoenix ancient clan clinging onto the supreme imperial people. With this relationship with Di Yuan, the divine Phoenix ancient clan's heaven-defying rise was just around the corner. Even Xuanxin's master, who had always been opposed to Xuanxin and Di Yuan's marriage alliance, was pleasantly surprised when he heard the news. He tried his best to persuade Xuanxin. Could this be the so-called will of the heavens? Su Fang, I'm afraid I won't be able to wait until the day you return. In the dojo, Xuanxin had turned into an iceberg. There was a deathly stillness in her eyes. Heavenly Realm, Su Yaotian, Xian Yintian, Xian Lingzi, Shu Yunkong, and the others were all in endless despair. The Lord of Five Poisons, Li Haojia, and Su Fang's best friends were all gnashing their teeth. Chapter 2336. People of the Square Heaven Realm, listen up. A majestic voice came from outside the Square Heaven Realm. It was the imperial people's expert that Di Yuan had sent to guard the Square Heaven Realm. This person's cultivation level had reached that of an upper-rank lord. Di Yuan had sent him to the Square Heaven Realm to control Su Fang and Xuanxin's family and force Xuanxin to submit. The Holy Sun Di Yuan is about to hold a grand marriage ceremony. When the time comes, the square heaven realm will be decorated with lanterns and colored banners. All the family members of Huang Xuanxin and Su Fong must be dressed in splendid attire and attend the ceremony. There must be no mistakes. The imperial people's experts' voice echoed in the square heaven realm, forcing Xuanxin into a marriage and forcing Xuanxin and Su Fong to personally attend the marriage ceremony. Di Yuan was so overbearing. Su Yaotian, Xian Yintian, and the others were all furious. The Ji people's third patriarch, Ji Lai's wanton laughter sounded again. The marriage between Huang Xuanxin and the holy son Di Yuan is an unprecedented, joyous event in all the worlds. I congratulate everyone here first. Congratulations, everyone. From now on, even chickens and dogs will rise to the heavens. Ha ha huffed. Xian Yintian's body swayed. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood before fainting. Su Yaotian gritted his teeth and clenched his fists so tightly that all 10 of his fingers were broken. Outside the Hunyuan heaven realm, on the blood wall, a Ji people's expert led hundreds of experts to the blood wall that was in charge of the square heaven realm. Lord Ji Lai has instructed that in order to celebrate the marriage between Di Yuan and Huang Xuanxin, he will specially gift each cultivator of the square heaven realm 100 supreme grade pills. Everyone, this is all thanks to Huang Xuanxin. Congratulations. This Ji people's expert was a middle-aged man named Ji Xiao. He wasn't very strong and only had early-stage Dao integration cultivation. Because he was born in the Ji people, Ji Xiao had boundless power on the blood wall. Even the ordinary overgod experts guarding the blood wall were polite to him. At this moment, Ji Xiao was smiling from ear to ear. However, the gaze he used to look at the god fiend that resided in his second soul was filled with endless mockery and incomparable delight. The cultivators of the heaven realm on the blood wall were all angry, and their eyes were filled with humiliation. Swoosh! More than a dozen deities flew over. Congratulations to the heaven realm. Congratulations to all of you. From now on, you will be able to climb to a higher branch, and your meteoric rise will be just around the corner. It turned out that they were experts from the Brahma heaven god realm and the Big Dipper sect. The patriarch of the Sanskrit sect and the sect master of the Big Dipper sect had also come in person. Of course, they weren't here to congratulate him. They were here to wantonly mock him. Scram! The god fiend monster let out a murderous roar. Ji Xiao, as well as the experts from Sanskrit and the Big Dipper sect, felt their bodies turn cold as they trembled. Huh! Your main body has already perished, and you can't even protect your Tao companion, and have become Holy Son Di Yuan's plaything. Let me see how long you can be arrogant for. Ji Xiao laughed coldly and left with the Ji people's experts. The experts from Sanskrit and the Big Dipper sect also roared with laughter. They were very happy. The people of the heaven realm on the blood wall fell into silence. They were all like volcanoes that could erupt at any time. The god fiend monster's eyes flashed with cold light as he muttered to himself, "My main body is almost back." Time flew by. Di Yuan and Xuanxin's wedding ceremony was held as scheduled. At this time, Di Yuan was like the sun at noon in the Yuan Tiangong. The higher-ups of the Yuan Tiangong wanted to encourage people, so this wedding ceremony was held in an extremely grand manner. In the Yuan Tiangong's heavens pivot, the Yuan Tiangong experts built a huge golden and dazzling palace to hold the wedding ceremony. The four realms of the Yuan Tiangong, the inner space of the heavens pivot, and the Hunyuan heaven were decorated with lanterns and colored banners. Even in the heaven realm, Ji Lai personally led people to decorate the place. Everywhere was filled with joy, but it was difficult to hide the incomparably strong hatred and anger. Su Yaotian, Xian Yintian, Shu Yunkong, Xian Lingzi, and other elders of Su Fong and Xuanxin, the Lord of Five Poisons, Li Haojia, and other friends of Su Fong. Even the clone that accompanied Su Fong's father from the outside world were all shackled by the imperial people and brought to the Yuan Tiangong's heavens pivot to participate in the wedding ceremony. Heaven Realm Dao Sect. Xuanxin sat cross-legged in the depths of the palace's array. His eyes were cold and strangely calm. With a flip of his right hand, a broken cauldron appeared in his hand. It was not a divine artifact, but a Dao artifact. This broken cauldron was the Thunder Punishment Cauldron. When Xuanqin was forcibly taken in as a disciple by Fairy Frozen Dream, before she left, Su Fong left the Thunder Punishment Cauldron and a clone by her side. After so many years, Xuanqin still kept the Thunder Punishment Cauldron. With her current status, she naturally did not lack peerless Dharma treasures. However, in her heart, no Dharma treasure could replace the Thunder Punishment Cauldron. The scene of meeting the constellation of 9 heavens, the experience in the outside world, and the God realm kept flashing in Xuanqin's mind. The corner of her mouth could not help but curl up into a smile. Xuanqin, the auspicious hour has arrived. The imperial people have arrived. It's time to move. The majestic voice of the clan leader of the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan came from outside the erase space. Xuanqin carefully put away the Thunder Punishment Cauldron. Her eyes instantly turned cold. Then, she took out a fiery red pill with her left hand and swallowed it. This pill was called Nirvana. This was a peerless pill of the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan. Some cultivators of the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan who had no hope of breaking through would swallow Nirvana. This pill had a slight chance. Nirvana? Rebirth could not only allow one to break through the bottleneck of cultivation, but also greatly improve one's cultivation. In the history of the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan, there was a godly, venerable cultivator who, seeing that his life was about to end, decided to swallow Nirvana. This pill was like Nirvana. Later, the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan not only broke through the bottleneck of cultivation, but also became a peerless god. However, after consuming Nirvana, this pill could successfully become Nirvana. The hope was very slim. There were very few successful cultivators like that peerless god in the history of the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan. After consuming Nirvana, once the pill failed, there was no doubt that the cultivator would die. Therefore, Nirvana? This pill was regarded by the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan as a suicide pill. Xuanqin changed into a snow-white robe. With a smile on her face, she slowly walked out of the erase space. Outside the blood wall, the resurrected cultivators clearly knew that the Hunyuan Heaven Realm was celebrating the marriage between Di Yuan and Xuanqin. The real cultivators of the blood wall had gone to the Yuan Tiangong and launched the most ferocious attack on the blood wall. Countless resurrected powerhouses converged into a vast ocean and swept towards the blood wall. Urgent alarms rang out, spreading throughout the entire blood wall and into the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. Above the blood wall, many cultivators projected their sensing abilities and sensed the tide of resurrected cultivators. Their faces turned ashen. Not only were there many resurrected cultivators, but there were also powerful cultivators who had never made a move before. There were even many overgods among them. Most of the Yuan Tiangong cultivators guarding the blood wall had gone to the Yuan Tiangong to participate in the marriage ceremony between Di Yuan and Xuanqin. There were not many overgods left on the blood wall. How could they fight against so many resurrected cultivators? Shocked, the cultivators all contacted the Hunyuan Heaven Realm and the Yuan Tiangong. Defend the blood wall. When the marriage ceremony is over, the Yuan Tiangong cultivators will naturally make a move. The marriage ceremony of Di Yuan's holy son is a top priority. Many cultivators have no time to spare. The reply from the Yuan Tiangong cultivators made all the cultivators on the blood wall feel despair. Boom! The resurrected cultivators slammed into the blood wall like raging waves crashing against the shore. Boom! 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 Countless resurrected cultivators self-destructed at the same time. Dozens of resurrected cultivators with strength comparable to overgods attacked the same section of the blood wall at the same time. The sturdy blood wall was shaken and the barrier shattered. The resurrected cultivators swept toward the blood wall like locusts, bringing with them a monstrous aura of death. They instantly swallowed up sections of the defensive line. The defensive line that the celestial realm was in charge of was also breached in an instant. Master, the Yuan Tiangong, Imperial people, and G people are bullying our celestial realm. Why should we defend the blood wall for them? Retreat. Retreat to the celestial realm. The celestial realm cultivators were desperate and unwilling. They all roared at the second primordial spirit. Wait a little longer, the second primordial spirit said coldly. Then he activated the yin-yang god-demon's power and charged toward the resurrected cultivators. In less than half an hour, the blood wall collapsed. The defensive lines fell one after another. Countless cultivators died and were mercilessly devoured by the resurrected cultivators. The resurrected cultivators spread like a tide, sweeping toward the Hunyuan Heaven Realm's world barrier. They launched a frenzied attack, even self-destructing to shake the world barrier. Whoosh! The God-fiend monster's astonishing strength attracted the attention of the powerful cultivators among the resurrected cultivators. A resurrected God-fiend with the strength of an upper-rank lord killed 7 Yuan Tiangong lord powerhouses guarding the blood wall in succession. Then, he charged toward the God-fiend monster. Boom! 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 The God-fiend monster and the resurrected God-fiend engaged in an earth-shattering battle. The second primordial spirit's primordial spirit power was extremely powerful, and it also possessed Night Demon's primordial spirit divine ability. The God-fiend monster's physical body was also extremely tough. The yin-yang god-demon's power of fusion was unique and powerful. However, at this moment, the second primordial spirit was facing a resurrected god-fiend comparable to an upper-rank lord. The disparity was too great. The second primordial spirit's strength was far beyond its limits. The God-fiend monster's physical body crumbled layer by layer. It was heavily injured. The black mark that the second primordial spirit resided in was also a primordial spirit flame formed by the evil aura of death. As the illusory and evil flame burned wildly, the black mark actually melted. The second primordial spirit was also heavily injured. Boom! The Hunyuan Heaven Realm's world barrier was breached. The resurrected cultivators were like a mountain torrent that suddenly found a place to vent. They surged wildly into the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. To think that there is such a unique existence like you among the humans. It's a pity that you still can't escape death. The resurrected God-fiend smiled savagely and was about to kill the second primordial spirit. At this moment, the God-fiend monster suddenly grinned. The second primordial spirit's cold voice rang out. You should be the one to die. Swoosh! A golden rainbow suddenly appeared from nothingness. Then it cut through the void and tore through the overflowing aura of death. In a flash, it appeared outside the blood wall. Golden light flashed, and a figure appeared. It seems that I'm not too late. That person's divine light swept out, taking in everything around him. His gaze suddenly turned sharp. The next moment, boom, a flame divine might that carried an astonishing aura of pure yang erupted along with the divine might of the world barrier, enveloping all directions. The void within 1,000,000 miles of the blood wall instantly turned into a world of flames that burned the sky. Shrill screams rang out in the world of flames that had an astonishing ability to restrain evil aura. Countless resurrected cultivators were burned to ashes in the flames. That's Su Fong, who was once ranked first on the assassination list. He's actually still alive. Chapter 23:37. Su Fong was finally back. After escaping from the Dao River, Su Fong had used the Heavenly Secret Life shrinking technique to stop Goddess Luo's adoptive father from severing the karmic fate between him and Goddess Luo. He had lost a shocking amount of life force. After a period of recovery, Su Fong traveled through many planes of time and space. Along the way, he encountered countless resurrected powerhouses and other evil existences. It was only now that he arrived at the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. Second primordial spirit. Su Fong sensed the existence of his second primordial spirit and its current condition. His divine light changed instantly. His true body moved in the world of flames and appeared before the resurrected demon god in an instant. It's Su Fong indeed. Su Fong was the holy son of Yuan Tiangong. He was ranked at the top of the assassination list of the evil path, the demonic path, and the resurrected powerhouses. Naturally, The resurrected demon god had seen his face and recognized Su Fong at a glance. I can't believe you're still alive. Even if you can come back from the dead, you'll still die in my hands so that I'll be rewarded greatly. The resurrected demon god laughed maniacally. A monstrous aura of death surged into the sky, breaking through Su Fong's world and sweeping toward Su Fong. This resurrected demon god was completely different from the resurrected demon gods that Su Fong had seen before. Not only did it have a clear mind and consciousness, but it also retained the divine powers it had before its resurrection. At the same time, it also had the ability to control the aura of death. Its ability was much more powerful than that of an ordinary upper-rank lord. Although it was not comparable to a peak lord, it was not far off. Kill! Su Fong immediately activated the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. More than 2,000 powerhouses in his inner world channeled their divine vitality and energy into the life treasure. With the help of the life treasure, Su Fong's flesh and blood fused with the energy of many powerhouses. His cultivation base immediately skyrocketed, surpassing the limits of the path integration realm and reaching the height of a lord. Heavenly Tao Order Power. God-slaying saber. In his life treasure state, Su Fong controlled the Heavenly Tao Order Power and condensed chains of order, swinging them toward the resurrected demon god from all directions. Chi. The chains of Heavenly Tao Order were corrupted and burned by the devilish aura that was filled with the aura of death. However, the devilish aura that had revived the demon god was also suppressed and shrunk by the Heavenly Tao Order. Su Fong then wielded the god-slaying saber and unleashed a white river of saber rays. His murderous aura tore apart the demonic aura of the resurrected demon god and landed on the resurrected demon god. Boom! The resurrected demon god's body was extremely strong. Su Fong's god-slaying saber slashed at his body and tore a deep wound in his chest, but it was unable to kill him. Hiss! Hiss! The resurrected demon god took a deep breath, and the deathly aura in the world swept over and entered his body. The wounds on his body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. The resurrection demon god grinned sinisterly. I'm a peerless master god, under the power of the supreme evil god. No one can kill me unless it's a venerable emperor. Can't kill him? Su Fong scoffed and put away the god-slaying saber. The next moment, he took a step forward, and a golden electric current gushed out from under his skin. His divine body grew crazily and instantly turned into a majestic golden giant. Clang! Clang! Su Fong was like a god of war. As his arms shook, a giant golden palm print with a strong and domineering pure yang divine aura charged toward the resurrected demon god. Giant diamond body, Herculean divine palm. Poof! The resurrected demon god wielded a palm print and shattered the Herculean divine palm. However, he could not withstand the second palm print and was shocked to the point of spitting out demonic blood. In the blink of an eye, Su Fong took another step forward and punched out. His fist rapidly grew in size and became as astonishing as a giant mountain. The golden pure yang divine aura bombarded the resurrected demon god, shattering his body and causing demonic blood to splatter everywhere. I can't believe you've become so powerful. The resurrected demon god finally felt fear and was shocked by Su Fong's powerful strength. He turned around and escaped into the void. I'll spare your life for now. Su Fong revealed a domineering smile. From the beginning to the end, he had not used his most powerful trump card. He had defeated a resurrected demon god whose strength was close to the peak of the overgod realm with just the giant diamond body. QL11 at this moment. Su Fong's strength was as powerful as this. Swoosh! Su Fong returned to his normal state. His second primordial spirit turned into a black Xian Guang and burrowed into the divine aperture of his original body. Su Fong immediately used the divine life shrinking technique to incinerate the demonic flames enveloping the black mark. Then his second primordial spirit merged with his original body. Su Fong instantly understood what had happened in Yuan Tiangong and the Hun Yuan heaven after he left. D Yuan, G people, all of you deserve to die. After learning what had happened in the Fong heaven realm, Su Fong was enraged. His fierce murderous aura suppressed the strong aura of death around him. Swoosh, swoosh. The great battle with the resurrected demon god and Su Fong's powerful aura had attracted the attention of countless people and resurrected experts. Who is that? What a powerful aura. Why does he look so familiar? Su Fong. He's Su Fong. Su Fong's original body has already perished in the divine prison of heaven's law. Could this be another clone of Su Fong? Many cultivators were puzzled. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. More than a dozen resurrected experts charged towards Su Fong. Among these resurrected experts, there were resurrected cultivators, resurrected demon gods, and Big Goblin. Each of them had the strength of a lesser lord. They were the main force of this attack on the Hun Yuan heaven realm. Boom! Su Fong put the monster's body back into his body, and the power of the world of yin and yang surged out from his body. With a monstrous fury, it instantly formed a universe that enveloped the dozen or so resurrected experts. Then, Su Fong activated the heavenly Tao Dharma power, and the Dharma tree emerged from the world. Rays of Yang spirit immediately fused with the fruits on the Dharma tree. The 6 different attributes of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and thunder, as well as the heaven underworld, a total of 7 different divine powers erupted. Boom! 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 The 7 Dharma tree were equivalent to Su Fong unleashing 7 powerful attacks at full strength. He immediately killed 3 resurrected experts and severely injured 4. The rest were also affected and suffered varying degrees of injuries. Swoosh! Swoosh! Chains of order extended from Su Fong's world. Compared to the resurrected demon god, these resurrected experts were much weaker. Moreover, they were currently situated in Su Fong's universe. The chains formed from the power of heavenly Tao order were unparalleled in power. They instantly bound the remaining 9 resurrected experts firmly. Die, all of you! Su Fong's voice, filled with the will of the heavenly Tao, reverberated in the world as if announcing the death of these resurrected experts. The 9 suns' divine fire quickly burned fiercely in the world, enveloping the resurrected experts and burning them madly. A total of 9 resurrected experts were all burned to ashes in less than half an hour. More than a dozen resurrected experts, who were equivalent to ordinary gods, were killed so easily. This immediately shocked everyone present. The human cultivators were all shocked and ecstatic. The resurrected experts who had consciousness revealed an instinctive fear and subconsciously kept retreating. Su Fong withdrew the divine power of the world. His domineering gaze swept across the many cultivators and resurrected experts. He said majestically, "I, Su Fong, am back." Su Fong, he's Su Fong's original body. Su Fong's original body didn't die and has returned from the divine prison of law. An uproar instantly rose into the sky and swept in all directions like a tide, completely suppressing the voices of the resurrected experts. Master, the cultivators of the heavenly realm came forward one after another. After confirming that it was Su Fong's original body that had returned, they were all overjoyed. After the first ancestor of the G people became a sovereign and took charge of the Hun Yuan heaven realm, those who could stay in the heavenly realm were all loyal subordinates. Some were from the Shu clan, and some were subordinates that Su Fong had subdued in the resting land of the gods. Not many experts were recruited later. Those who had stayed on the blood wall until now had a slim chance of survival. Coupled with the humiliation that the heavenly realm had suffered over the years, when they suddenly saw Su Fong's original body, they were like children who had been lost for many years suddenly seeing their parents. They burst into tears. "I've let you suffer. I, Su Fong, promise that from today onwards, no one will dare to wantonly humiliate my subordinates. Now, let's see how this master will avenge you." Su Fong was moved. At the same time, The killing intent in his heart became even stronger. He took the surviving subordinates of the heavenly realm into his inner world. On the way to the Hunyuan heaven realm, Su Fong had killed many cultivators who tried to kill him and seized a lot of resources. Now, he took them all out and distributed them to his subordinates. Because he was worried about Xuanxin, Su Fong was burning with anxiety. He went straight to the Hunyuan heaven realm's world barrier. Who knew a thunderous shout could be heard? Su Fong's original body has already fallen. This person must be a reincarnated expert in disguise. Listen to this master's order. Quickly join forces to suppress him. It turned out that it was the Ji people's expert, Ji Xiao. When he saw Su Fong return, his hatred of the past made him lose his mind. He ordered all the cultivators to kill Su Fong. The cultivators of the Hunyuan heaven realm hesitated. After seeing the powerful strength that Su Fong had just displayed, no one dared to go forward and throw away their lives. Jumping clown, Su Fong reached out and grabbed at the air. His divine aura instantly enveloped Ji Xiao, forcibly grabbing him from the protection of many experts. This master is a member of the Ji people. Under the orders of the Supreme Ji Emperor, I am responsible for the defense of the Blood Wall. Even if you're really Su Fong, how dare you kill this master? Unless you don't want your family and friends in the heavenly realm to live. If you dare to kill this master, my race's supreme sovereign will destroy the entire heavenly realm. Ji Xiao was shackled by Su Fong, but he was still domineering and arrogant. Su Fong has killed many of the Ji people, including your Ji people's second ancestor. Not only will I kill you, but I will also destroy the Ji people. I will even kill the Ji people's first ancestor, Ji Huang, whom you worship as the heavenly Tao. Su Fong said coldly. Ji Xiao snorted. Arrogant, shameless boasting, you overestimate yourself. You're just an ant. Why should I explain anything to you? Flames flashed in Su Fong's eyes. When they landed on Ji Xiao, they immediately burned fiercely. Chapter 23:38. Su Fong used his power at the Great Perfection stage and then used his divine might to capture over 100 cultivators. They were the experts of the Ji people, Sanskrit, and Big Dipper sect, including the patriarch of the Sanskrit sect and the sect master of the Big Dipper sect. They were all late-stage Tao integration experts. However, under Su Fong's divine might, they were like weak chickens, unable to resist at all. Su Fong, the enmity between you and the Sanskrit has long been settled. Why won't you let the Sanskrit go? The patriarch of the Sanskrit shouted in shock and anger. The sect master of the Big Dipper sect trembled. The Big Dipper sect didn't do anything to your Fong heaven realm. We only offended you with our words. Lord Su Fong, please be magnanimous and let the Big Dipper sect go this time. Su Fong, you dare to kill the Ji people. The supreme sovereign of our race will definitely not let you go. Su Fong, spare our lives. The experts of the Sanskrit, Ji people, and Big Dipper sect all spoke out. Some begged for mercy, while others threatened loudly. Su Fong, the resurrected experts are about to attack the Hunyuan heaven realm. As a Yuan Tiangong genius, how can you slaughter the experts of our human race at this time? Some of the king god experts guarding the blood wall all spoke out to dissuade Su Fong. What does the resurrected experts attacking the Hunyuan heaven realm have to do with me? My family and friends have suffered all kinds of humiliation and bullying in the Hunyuan heaven realm. My Tao companion was forced into marriage by Di Yuan, who spoke up for them. I, Su Fong, have always been the kind of person who will return a punch 10 times over. These people all deserve to die. Su Fong's voice was filled with cruelty. As soon as his voice fell, he waved his hand, and a bloody water engulfed over 100 experts of the Ji people, Sanskrit, and Big Dipper sect. Su Fong, the Sanskrit of the ancient god realm, will definitely not let you go. The patriarch of the Sanskrit roared angrily. Su Fong, you'll die a horrible death. Mournful screams and angry curses rose and fell in the bloody water. Su Fong sucked these people and their blood directly into his body and handed them over to Gui Gui to deal with. When the Yuan Tiangong experts saw this scene, they trembled with fear. Su Fong headed straight for the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. The resurrected experts had breached a huge hole in the world barrier, through which countless resurrected experts were pouring into the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. QL11. As soon as the Su Fong appeared, thousands of resurrected experts swarmed over. Boom! Su Fong urged the power of fire to burn the nearby resurrected powerhouses to death. Then, his figure flickered and he entered the Hunyuan Heaven World. Hunyuan Heaven Realm. I, Su Fong, am back. Looking up at the Shaoyang Divine Sun and Shaoyin Divine Moon in the Hunyuan Heaven Realm, Su Fong's eyes flashed with determination and fierce killing intent. He projected the power of the Yin-Yang Divine World. His figure instantly moved wherever the divine power reached. In just 10 breaths of time, he arrived in the sky above the Heaven Realm. His perfect vision swept across the Heaven Realm. Seeing the Heaven Realm decorated with lanterns and colored banners, Su Fong's eyes seemed to be frozen, and the fierce aura in his heart suddenly became several times stronger. Then, Su Fong sensed that his father, Su Yaotian, Xian Yintian, Xian Lingzi, Shu Yunkong, and the others were all not in the Heaven Realm. Outside the enchantment of the Heavenly Realm, there was also a powerful enchantment created by the strong to seal the entire Heavenly Realm. At this time, the Heaven Realm was like a huge prison. This scene made the anger in Su Fong's heart enough to burn the world. The Golden Rainbow Monarch's voice came from the inner world. Su Fong, you have to think clearly. Next, you will face a supreme sovereign and the imperial people. So what? You are now directly clashing with a sovereign and even offending the imperial people. It is equivalent to smashing an egg against a rock. Mortals in the mortal world all know that it is never too late for a gentleman to take revenge, Su Fong replied coldly. Are you trying to persuade me to swallow my anger? Of course you can't swallow your anger. Your Taoist companion has been snatched away. If you swallow your anger, won't you become a turtle and a bastard? I am advising you to think of another way. It is not suitable to clash with the sovereign and the imperial people. Golden Rainbow Monarch, I understand what you mean. But this time, if I don't kill, I will be letting down my family and friends, and even more so, Xuanxin. But don't worry, I am definitely not blinded by hatred. I have my own way of dealing with the aftermath. He ended the communication with the Golden Rainbow Monarch. Su Fong was about to break the boundary and take everyone in the Heaven Realm into his inner world. Suddenly, a strong and domineering aura suddenly descended and enveloped Su Fong. A middle-aged man in white emerged from nothingness. It was the Imperial People powerhouse guarding the Heaven Realm of Hunyuan. His cultivation had reached the level of a middle-rank lord. Su Fong had sensed this person's presence long ago, but he did not want to waste too much time here, so he did not expose him. He did not expect this person to appear of his own accord. Who are you? The Heaven Realm has been sealed by the Supreme Imperial People. Before the wedding ceremony of the Emperor Yuan's holy son ends, no one is allowed to enter or leave. Su Fong, how is that possible? The Imperial People's Lord Powerhouse was still acting high and mighty in the beginning. When he saw Su Fong's face clearly, his expression changed instantly. His eyes were filled with disbelief. That's right, I am Su Fong. I'm back. Su Fong's cold voice was like a cold wind from hell. Su Fong has died a long time ago. Who are you in disguise? The Imperial People's powerhouse shouted domineeringly. Scram if you don't want to die. Su Fong snorted coldly. Swish! Su Fong activated the god-slaying saber and slashed at the barrier sealing the Heaven Realm. Su Fong's saber tore a hole in the powerful barrier, which could withstand a lord's attack. Even if you really are Su Fong, how dare you act so presumptuously in front of me? Surrender now, lest I kill you by accident. The Imperial People's powerhouse activated a wave of divine might. It felt as if the power of the entire Heaven Realm of Hunyuan was under his control. It enveloped Su Fong and was about to suppress Su Fong. You're just a mere middle-rank lord, Su Fong scoffed. With his current ability, he really did not think much of a middle-rank lord powerhouse. After forming the hand seal, A powerful force that seemed capable of splitting heaven and earth shattered the imperial people's divine might layer by layer. Heaven-opening seal. Su Fang's figure flashed, and he took a step forward. His physical body shattered into pieces, turning into bloody water that gushed out. A bloody dome quickly formed in the sky. Under the cooperation of the Heaven Realm's divine might, Heaven Underworld immediately formed a reincarnation realm. Sizzle. Blood shadow clones floated out of the realm, and bloody claws extended from the bloody dome. As the bloody water swirled and whistled, it released a powerful, devouring divine might. The imperial people's powerhouse's life force was being devoured at an alarming rate. His expression changed drastically, and he immediately unleashed all his strength, charging out of the Heaven Underworld realm. After sensing it, the imperial people's powerhouse was shocked to discover that more than a layer of his life force had been devoured in the span of a mere dozen breaths. Imperial people's powerhouses are indeed extraordinary. Ordinary middle-rank lords can't be compared to them. Su Fang reformed his physical body again, revealing a disdainful expression. Then, he shouted domineeringly, "Seeing that you're an imperial people, I'll spare your life this time. Next time, I won't just devour your blood chi. I'll devour your bloodline and soul directly." Scram! The imperial people's powerhouse was extremely furious. However, his eyes were filled with fear. Su Fang shouted loudly toward the Heaven Realm, "I'm Su Fang. I'm back." "Su Fang, who are you? Why are you pretending to be Su Fang?" "Shameless G people. If you want to kill me, just kill me. Why do you have to resort to such despicable means? If you're Su Fang, I, the great monk Shangda, am a heavenly venerable. Where did this be asterisk starred come from? How dare you pretend to be Su Fang?" Scram! Furious roars came from the Heaven Realm. Su Fang was extremely familiar with every voice. The great monk Shangda's voice, in particular, left Su Fang unsure whether to laugh or cry. "Enter my inner world, all of you." Su Fang had no time to explain. He projected the power of his inner world and immediately enveloped the entire Heaven Realm. "Come in." Rumble. The Heaven Realm slowly rose under Su Fang's divine might. The remaining barriers sealing the Heaven Realm shattered layer by layer. Finally, the Heaven Realm was directly absorbed into Su Fang's body through his right palm and sent into his inner world. Then, Su Fang stripped his son's spirit and entered the Heaven Realm. Su Fang is really back. Master isn't dead. He's still alive. There's hope for the Heaven Realm now. Master, the great monk has sinned. Please spare my life. After confirming that it was really Su Fang's true body that had returned, the Heaven Realm immediately erupted with cheers and cries. While Su Fang was absorbing the Heaven Realm, the imperial people's expert was hesitant and fearful. He could only watch as Su Fang absorbed the Heaven Realm into his inner world. Whoosh! A figure walked out of nothingness. Seeing this person, Su Fang's eyebrows furrowed. The murderous intent in his eyes suddenly became fierce. "Jilai," Jilai said loudly to the imperial people's expert, "Lord Imperial People, I received news from the Blood Wall that this person is a resurrected expert in disguise. He was the one who led the resurrected experts to break the Hunyuan Heaven Realm's world barrier. You and I will work together to suppress him." At this time, Jilai had already confirmed Su Fang's identity, but he insisted that he was a resurrected expert in disguise. He obviously intended to kill Su Fang before alarming the higher-ups of the Yuan Tiangong. "Third G, you're courting death." How could Su Fang not see through Jilai's thoughts? From his second primordial spirit's memories, Su Fang knew that the injustice, bullying, and humiliation that the Heaven Realm had suffered over the years was all thanks to the Third G People's Patriarch. Now that he had delivered himself to his doorstep, it was time to settle old and new grudges. Su Fang quickly formed a seal and struck out a shocking seal. Yin-Yang change. At this time, Su Fang had successfully formed his 72nd Yang Meridian and stepped into the 8th change. Using the Yin-Yang change no longer consumed as much energy as before. After using it once, he could not use it again. He deeply hated the third G people's patriarch, so he used one of his trump cards to kill him in one blow. Ji-Lai used his divine power to isolate the surroundings. His eyes, filled with hatred, swept over Su Fong. Just now, I heard that you easily defeated a resurrected demon god comparable to an upper-rank lord. You even single-handedly killed more than a dozen resurrected experts at the level of a lower-rank lord. I like to see if you've truly defied the heavens after coming out of the Prison Suppression Codex. Chapter 23:39. Peerless Flower of the Heavenly Tao. Su Fong formed a seal and formed a flower of the heavenly Tao that emitted a dazzling glow. In the next moment, the divine power of the heavenly Tao's heavenly cycle surged out of his body and enveloped the flower of the heavenly Tao. Yin-yang change. Su Fong formed a shocking seal. As the flower of the heavenly Tao spun, it kept changing its dazzling luster. A kind of supreme divine power evolved from the heavenly Tao, erupted from the flower of the heavenly Tao, and enveloped Ji-Lai. Feeling the terrifying divine power of the yin-yang change, Ji-Lai's divine light changed instantly. Then his defense and divine body rapidly disintegrated under the divine power of the yin-yang change, reverting to its most primitive state. The Imperial People's experts who were about to attack suddenly changed their expressions and retreated quickly. The arrogance and disdain on Ji-Lai's face instantly disappeared. He shouted loudly, "First Ancestor, save me." I didn't expect that a mere ascended cultivator from back then would grow to such a level now. With the cultivation of the Tao integration realm, you can actually kill a peerless master god so easily. Su Fong, you're indeed extraordinary. You're qualified for me to personally attack you. A voice that sounded like the voice of the heavenly Tao resounded majestically in Su Fong's ears. Then, a divine power suddenly descended and forcibly interrupted Su Fong's yin-yang change. A young man in his early 20s quickly condensed in front of Su Fong. The Ji people's first ancestor? Su Fong used his perfected ability and scanned this young man. Sensing the aura of nothingness, his expression instantly became serious. Su Fong smiled domineeringly. "This isn't my true body. It's just a clone formed by a wisp of my primordial spirit consciousness." This young man was the Ji people's first ancestor. His true body didn't descend personally, and his strength wasn't at the D-venerable level. However, he was even more terrifying than the peak master gods that Su Fong had seen before. The Ji people's first ancestor said indifferently, "My true body is currently in the Yuan Tiangong's W space to participate in the marriage ceremony between your Tao companion and Di Yuan, so I have no time to appear. If I need my true body to suppress a mere Tao integration cultivator like you, then wouldn't I become the biggest joke in the entire universe? Then I'll kill your doppelganger first. Then I'll kill your true body." Su Fong shouted coldly. Ji-Lai, who had just escaped death, laughed disdainfully. "Su Fong, did you become an idiot in the divine prison of heavenly law?" He was so arrogant that he wanted to kill a supreme sovereign? In the Hunyuan heaven realm, I, the Ji people's sovereign, am the heavens. Killing you is as easy as crushing an ant. If this is really heaven, then my Su Fong will break this heaven today. A heaven-defying aura erupted from Su Fong's body. With a flip of his right hand, a divine artifact appeared in his grasp. This divine artifact was a pitch-black book. It was incomplete and looked like a tattered book that couldn't be any more tattered. However, the book was filled with a cold and strict aura of the heavenly Tao, which made the doppelganger of the Ji people's first ancestor feel his heart palpitate. The Imperial People's powerhouse exclaimed, "The Prison Suppressing Codex. That's the Prison Suppressing Codex of the Divine Prison of Heavenly Law." The divine artifact Su Fong took out was the Prison Suppressing Codex. Due to the corruption of the Death Chi, the Prison Suppressing Codex was severely damaged. Su Fong placed it in the Hunyuan sacred mirror and used his Yang spirit to activate the array inside the ancient mirror to continuously refine the Death Chi and then merge it. At this time, the prison suppressing codex's power was less than 1/10. Moreover, Su Fong hadn't completely merged it, so the power it could display was far from its peak state. However, the prison suppressing codex was a divine artifact of heavenly law after all. It was more than enough to deal with a doppelganger condensed from the consciousness of a supreme sovereign. I didn't expect that not only could you escape from the divine prison of heavenly law, but you also obtained the supreme divine artifact of the divine prison of heavenly law. The G people's first ancestor looked at the prison suppressing codex with incomparable vigor. Then he shouted coldly, "What right does a mere Tao integration cultivator like you have to possess such a supreme divine artifact? Give it to me." Jilai transmitted his primordial spirit to remind the G people's first ancestor. First ancestor, don't kill him. He must know a lot of secrets since he was able to escape from the divine prison of heavenly law. Also, the second ancestor's whereabouts. After suppressing him, use the soul search on him. I, Su Fong, am not qualified to possess the prison suppressing codex. Do you think you're qualified? Su Fong snorted inexplicably. He performed a hand seal, injecting his magic power and the power of the heavenly Tao order into the prison suppressing codex. The prison suppressing codex immediately floated up, and the tattered pages opened. He can actually activate the divine artifact of heavenly law. The G people's first ancestor was shocked. He released a burst of divine power, wanted to take the prison suppressing codex away. However, the prison suppressing codex only swayed for a moment before remaining still. The divine power of Supreme Sovereign was unable to move the prison suppressing codex. Whoosh! Whoosh! Streaks of ice-cold black Xianguang erupted from the suppressing prison codex and quickly condensed into imprints. They intertwined into a huge prison and fell towards the G people's first ancestor. Not good. The divine light of the G people's first ancestor changed. Just as he was about to escape, the G people's first ancestor was shocked to find that everything around him was shackled by the supreme power of the heavenly Tao order. The astonishing power of the shackles seeped into his body and shackled his primordial spirit. Even though he was a venerable sovereign's clone, it was difficult for him to escape. Boom! The prison suddenly descended, shackling the clone of the G people's first ancestor. Then, the suppressing hell codex exploded with an astonishing, twisting divine power. The prison flew towards the suppressing hell codex and quickly turned into nothingness. It turned into a black Xianguang and landed on the pages of the suppressing hell codex. In the end, it turned into a lifelike picture. The suppressing prison codex slowly closed and was absorbed into Su Fong's body. How is this possible? Jilai was dumbfounded and even forgot to run for his life. That was a venerable sovereign. Although the current first ancestor of the G people was only a clone condensed from the consciousness of a venerable sovereign's primordial spirit, he had the supreme strength of a peak Lord-level expert. Yet, he was suppressed by a path integration cultivator using a divine weapon. It's your turn now. Su Fong used an astonishing amount of magic power, primordial spirit, and order power to activate the suppressing hell codex. His face turned pale, but his murderous aura did not diminish at all. The heavenly Tao Dharma idol was projected out of his body again. A beam of yang spirit flew out and quickly merged with the black and white fruit at the top of the Dharma idol tree. Boom! The yang spirit that merged with the black and white fruit used the yin-yang change and exploded with an astonishing power. The third ancestor of the G people had reached the height of a middle-rank Lord-level expert. He was also a powerful expert in the myriad worlds. Moreover, this person was vicious and merciless. He had once slaughtered a major world in a fit of rage. He was infamous for his ferocity. However, at this moment, under the divine power of the yin-yang change, the third ancestor of the G people's divine body and primordial spirit rapidly collapsed layer by layer, reverting back to his original state. This indicated that his life was about to come to an end. The third ancestor, the G people, used the great Tao of heavenly sound. His divine body turned illusory and transformed into a sound wave state, trying to escape the divine power of the yin-yang change. However, all his efforts were in vain. He roared madly, "Su Fong, if you dare to kill me, the supreme sovereign of my people will never let you go. He will definitely pull out your tendons and skin you alive. Why does every G people have to say such nonsense before I kill them?" Su Fong scoffed. Then he shouted domineeringly, "I can only repeat myself. The G people's first ancestor can't save you, nor can he save the G people. The G people will be destroyed by me sooner or later. Even that first ancestor will not be able to escape my suppression. By the way, I'll let you know that your second ancestor, the G people, has already died in my hands. With him accompanying you in the netherworld, you won't feel lonely. I hate you so much. If I had known this would happen, I would have killed you directly back in the Azure Dome Star field. How would this happen?" The third ancestor, the G people, roared in despair and unwillingness. His voice gradually weakened under the terrifying divine power of the yin-yang change. In the end, his entire being turned into a wisp of chaotic aura and was absorbed into Su Fong's body. As expected of a middle-rank Lord Powerhouse, the wisp of chaotic aura refined by the yin-yang change allowed Su Fong's depleted energy to recover rapidly. It was estimated that in less than 2 hours, Su Fong would be restored to his peak state. "Master is mighty. Jilai, I didn't expect you to have such a day." Su Fong unleashed his divine power to kill the third ancestor of the G people. All his subordinates in the heaven realm in his inner world saw it clearly. They saw that Jilai, a middle-rank lord, was like the heavenly Tao in the eyes of many heaven realm cultivators. He was high and mighty. Now that he had been killed so easily by Su Fong, all of them cheered loudly. All the hatred and anger that had accumulated in their hearts over the years had been completely vented. The Imperial People Powerhouse witnessed the G people's first ancestor's clone being suppressed by Su Fong. He also saw Su Fong kill the G people's third ancestor, as if he were slaughtering a chicken. He was utterly shocked. He looked at Su Fong as if he was looking at a supreme sovereign. Su Fong smiled coldly as he looked at the Imperial People Powerhouse. The Imperial People Powerhouse snorted. "Su Fong, do you think you're so powerful that you can fight even the supreme Imperial People and kill me? I didn't kill you not because I'm afraid of the Imperial People, but because you were only ordered to seal off the heaven realm. You didn't kill anyone from the heaven realm. Otherwise, no matter who you are, Su Fong would never let you go." Su Fong flew toward the entrance of the Yuan Tiangong in embarrassment. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The many heaven punishers guarding the entrance of the Yuan Tiangong blocked Su Fong's path. Su Fong. The heaven punishers were all shocked when they saw Su Fong's face. "Let him in," the Imperial People Powerhouse shouted. The heaven punishers made way for the entrance. Su Fong took out his Sun-San identity token. He didn't expect it to still be usable. It released a protective divine power. Su Fong calmly entered the Yuan Tiangong. "I'm afraid there's going to be a big mess this time," the middle-aged Imperial People Powerhouse sighed. He immediately took out a rune talisman and sent a message to the upper echelons of the Imperial People. Tianshu. In the splendid inner space of the palace, the wedding ceremony of Di Yuan and Xuanxin had already begun. In the huge space that was decorated with a joyous atmosphere, almost all the important figures of the heaven realm had appeared, including the supreme existences of the Imperial People and the upper echelons of the Imperial People. QL11, there were more than 30 supreme sovereigns in the heaven realm. At this moment, 18 of them had appeared. However, most of them were clones. It was rare for them to appear with their original bodies like the first ancestor of the G people. Chapter 2340. Among the many divine clans, the cultivators of the Divine Phoenix clan were in high spirits. The marriage between Xuanxin and Di Yuan had raised the status of the Divine Phoenix clan among the Yuan Tiangong. How could the cultivators of the Divine Phoenix clan not be happy? The other divine clans of the ancient god world, especially the divine dragon clan, looked at the cultivators of the divine phoenix clan with envy and even jealousy. Feeling the gazes of the other divine clans, the clan leader of the divine phoenix clan was very proud. At the same time, she was secretly glad. Fortunately, Su Fong is dead. Otherwise, how could Di Yuan marry Xuanxin? How could we have the status of our clan in the future? Not only supreme emperors, but most of the overgods had also come to participate in the marriage ceremony. Sheng Wuji and Mo Tiangong were also among them. Their faces were gloomy, and their eyes were filled with anger. Sheng Wuji secretly transmitted his voice. I used to think that Di Yuan was modest and polite. I didn't expect him to be so overbearing. He forced Su Fong's cultivation partner and even forced Su Fong's family and friends to attend the ceremony. He has gone too far. Mo Tiangong secretly sighed. After Di Yuan failed at the celestial worthy mountain, his temperament changed drastically. Now, he suddenly has the great merit of saving the universe. So what if he's overbearing? It's a pity that Su Fong, such a peerless genius, died prematurely. Sheng Wuji said hatefully, I suspect that the so-called great merit of saving the universe is nothing but a lie. Mo Tiangong quickly stopped him. Farmers, don't invite trouble. You and I are both independent cultivators. The imperial people are not people we can offend. While the two were angry about Di Yuan's behavior and sighing for Su Fong, there are also people who were happy about Su Fong's experience. Heavenly Fire Divine Lord was one of them. During the selection ceremony of the Artifact Hall, Heavenly Fire Divine Lord was forced to leave the Artifact Hall and went into seclusion for a long time. He was too ashamed to see anyone. Only when news of Su Fong's death spread did Heavenly Fire Divine Lord come out of seclusion. At this moment, his heart was naturally filled with incomparable joy. Su Fong is arrogant and despotic. His premature death is something that will happen sooner or later. It's just a pity that the purple Qi Dharma spirit around the central high platform where the ceremony was held, Su Yao Tian, Xian Yin Tian, Shu Yunkong, Xian Lingzi, and other elders of Su Fong, as well as Li Haojia, the Lord of Five Poisons, Zhang Riyun, Lan Haicheng, and other friends from the macro world were sitting in the most eye-catching positions. There was also Su Fong's doppelganger, which was especially eye-catching here. They seemed to be treated as honored guests, but in reality, the maids around them were all experts sent by the imperial people to keep an eye on them. As long as they made the slightest move, these maids could easily shackle them. Su Fong's doppelganger was expressionless. His other relatives and friends either had gloomy or angry expressions. The ceremony was presided over by a big shot of the imperial people. He was a dignified old man with an ethereal aura. Although he was not a supreme venerable one, he was only one step away from the supreme venerable one. The dignified old man first wantonly announced Di Yuan's extraordinary talent and his peerless contribution to saving the universe. Then, he also praised Xuanxin without restraint. When Di Yuan appeared, a sound of nature rang out from the void. Flower petals danced in the air, bringing with them a strange fragrance. It made everyone's spirits rise, and they felt refreshed. Then from the array on the right, hundreds of beautiful women shuttled through the array. Then Di Yuan slowly flew out. Swoosh! Swoosh! At this moment, Di Yuan was dressed in a long golden robe, which made him look even more heroic and extraordinary. His entire body exuded a majestic aura, as if he was a supreme being who ruled the world. His eyes were filled with a disdainful attitude, as if he regarded all living beings as ants. In the inner space of the palace, there were waves of praises. Even the supreme venerable ones nodded repeatedly. Then, Xuanxin walked out from the array on the other side, surrounded by many women. At this moment, Xuanxin was dressed in a long red robe embroidered with a divine phoenix pattern formed by mysterious heavenly marks. She wore a phoenix crown on her head, and the aura of treasures overflowed from her body, making her face look hazy. However, there was a chilly aura exuding from her body, like an iceberg that would never melt. Just as everyone was looking at her, The supreme venerable one of the imperial people, who was watching the ceremony in the front row, frowned slightly and then relaxed. It turned out that he had suddenly sensed that the connection between the clone he left in the Hunyuan heaven realm and his original body had suddenly been cut off. However, he did not take it to heart. Although there were many resurrected experts attacking the Hunyuan heaven realm, it was unlikely that a resurrected expert who could kill his clone would appear. A moment later, a high-ranking imperial people also raised his eyebrows. It turned out that a rune talisman in his storage ring had stirred. At this critical moment of the marriage ceremony, the high-ranking imperial people sealed the rune talisman and no longer paid any attention to it. On the high platform, everyone, the majestic old man of the imperial people, stretched out his hand and grabbed a scroll. A supreme divine power that transcended heaven and earth spread out from the scroll. Everyone was in awe and reverence as they stood up one after another. Even the peerless sovereigns, including the peerless powerhouses of the monarch clan, stood up respectfully with deep expressions. In order to celebrate the marriage between Di Yuan and Huang Xuanxin, the supreme expert of the imperial people, the guardian of the celestial mountain, a supreme existence that transcends heaven and earth, has specially written a calligraphy to congratulate the two of them. The majestic old man of the imperial people said proudly. Hua, an uproar of exclamations sounded. The majestic old man of the imperial people unfolded the scroll. On the scroll, there were 4 large golden words, a match made in heaven. Every stroke contained the profound mysteries of the heavenly Tao, especially the word heaven. Looking at this word made people feel as if they were facing the heavenly Tao. A kind of reverence would involuntarily arise in their hearts at a glance. A transcendent expert, he actually personally sent a congratulatory gift for Di Yuan. It could be seen that he valued Di Yuan. Everyone who came to watch the ceremony was extremely envious. From this, it could be concluded that Di Yuan would definitely be the #1 person in the universe in the future. His power and strength would be limitless, just as everyone was feeling shocked and envious. Suddenly, the 4 words on the scroll quickly turned into nothingness. In an instant, it disappeared without a trace. Immediately after, the picture scroll burst into flames with a chi sound. It turned into ashes at a very fast speed and drifted away. This sudden turn of events caught everyone off guard. They were all shocked and stunned. The inner space of the palace instantly became deathly silent. The supreme existence of the imperial people raised his sword-like eyebrows as doubt and shock surged in his eyes. The majestic old man of the imperial people who presided over the ceremony reacted extremely quickly. The calligraphy of the supreme expert of heaven and earth is not something that we can read for a long time. Therefore, we were blinded by the heavenly Tao. Everyone was skeptical, but no one dared to say a word. Sheng Wuji secretly sent a voice transmission to Mo Tiangong. Di Yuan is so domineering that even the heavenly Tao can't tolerate him. Mo Tiangong snorted. Why don't you send down a bolt of heavenly lightning and directly kill him? The majestic old man of the imperial people laughed loudly and shouted, I announce that the peerless genius of our race, Yuan Tiangong's holy son Di Yuan, and the genius of the heavenly realm dojo, Phoenix Xuanxin, who came from the ancient divine Phoenix clan, have become— Wait. It turned out that it was Su Fang's clone. He suddenly stood up, and his cold voice roared like a cold wind. The maidservant beside him instantly released a divine aura that shackled Su Fang's clone. She secretly threatened, if you don't want your race to be destroyed, sit there obediently. At this moment, Di Yuan suddenly said, let him finish. The maidservant had no choice but to release Su Fang's clone. Su Fang's clone clanged. Xuanxin is Su Fang's Tao companion. I definitely won't agree to this marriage. After a moment of silence, a burst of laughter rang out in the palace. Some people wantonly mocked and even cursed, while others shook their heads and sighed. Although Su Fang had died, he still had his clone and second primordial spirit. Strictly speaking, he was not really dead. However, his clone and second primordial spirit did not have the strength of his main body, nor did they have the heaven-defying cultivation talent of his main body. Naturally, they were ignored by everyone. The thousands of worlds follow the natural law of the jungle. Coupled with the fact that the heavenly Tao had lost its order, the world of cultivators had also lost its laws and rules. The law of the jungle was especially obvious. Moreover, Di Yuan was currently at the peak of his power, while Su Fong was already considered a dead genius. Who would take his clones seriously? Di Yuan revealed a domineering smile. I saved thousands of worlds. What can I get? As for you, who do you think you are? Even if your main body is still here, if I want your woman, you have to obediently obey. Such arrogant words made the peerless imperial people raise their eyebrows. They could also see that Di Yuan seemed to have changed into a different person. Su Fong, your clone is also an embarrassment to Su Fong. It's better to destroy it. As soon as Di Yuan's voice fell, a domineering divine aura enveloped Su Fong's clone. At that moment, Xuanxin suddenly said coldly, Di Yuan, I also don't agree to the marriage. Are you going to kill me too? Phoenix Xuanxin, don't talk nonsense. The expressions of the divine Phoenix ancient race's upper echelons changed drastically, and they all angrily rebuked Xuanxin. QL11 resentment flashed across Di Yuan's eyes. He then said casually, whether I agree or not, it's not up to you. It's up to me. Xuanxin took off the phoenix crown on his head. His beautiful face was as cold as ice. I've already devoured Nya. Dan. There was an uproar below the high platform. The peerless imperial people, as well as those sovereigns, swept their divine light over Xuanxin and immediately sensed Nya. Dan's aura. All of them were shocked. The peerless imperial people snorted coldly. Nya? Even though he was the strongest cultivator below the transcendence level, he could do nothing about Nya. The divine phoenix, ancient race's leader, trembled, and her face instantly turned as pale as paper. It's over now. Not only did all her beautiful dreams come to nothing, but she had also completely offended Di Yuan and the imperial people. How could the divine phoenix, ancient race survive in Yuan Tiangong in the future? Di Yuan's handsome face instantly became ferocious. You'd rather die than become my cultivation partner? Xuanxin said indifferently. You only treat me as a tool to vent your Su Fong. When have you ever treated me as your cultivation partner? Other than your background being nobler than Su Fong, which part of you can compare to Su Fong? I only have hatred and disdain for you. Di Yuan said coldly. That's right. I do treat you like everything. Even if you die, you won't be able to escape my control. Then he shouted coldly at the peerless imperial people, continue the ceremony. An illusory figure flashed out from the prison and quickly transformed into a cultivator in his early 20s. Boom! An indescribably powerful aura erupted from this cultivator, shattering the divine might of the imperial people's dignified old man. Then, this cultivator took a step forward and charged towards the old imperial people in the blink of an eye. He opened his mouth and let out a roar. The roar contained the power of the heavenly Tao, collapsing space and messing up the laws of nature. The old imperial people was caught off guard. He had just condensed a defense when he was sent flying. He shattered the formation space and disappeared from the palace. This cultivator was a peerless powerhouse whose cultivation had reached the peak of the Lord level. The G people's first ancestor. Everyone was shocked when they saw this cultivator's face. They didn't expect Su Fong to release the G people's first ancestor from the prison suppressing codex. When the G people's first ancestor saw that figure, he revealed an extremely shocked and furious expression. That figure was the clone that the G people's first ancestor had left behind in the Hunyuan heaven realm. What especially shocked the G people's first ancestor was that he had lost contact with this clone and was instead controlled by Su Fong. This was the terror of the prison suppressing codex. Once the prison suppressing codex was fused with it, one could borrow the power of the codex to control the experts who were shackled. Unfortunately, the experts who were shackled by the prison suppressing codex were severely damaged due to the corrosion of the river of the heavenly Tao. Less than 10% of the experts who were suppressed by the prison suppressing codex were still alive. Those sealed sovereigns had all died because they were in the same space as Jiang Taijia. Otherwise, if Su Fong fused with the prison suppressing codex, it would be equivalent to controlling the sealed experts. There were even several sovereigns among them. Who in the universe could defeat them? Xuanxin, come to my inner world first. I want you to see it with your own eyes. I will return the humiliation you suffered tenfold. Su Fong released a divine might that enveloped Xuanxin. You have to be careful. Xuanxin nodded, his eyes filled with worry. Don't worry, I'm not a reckless person. Su Fong put Xuanxin into his inner world and separated a Yang soul to accompany Xuanxin. He also released his divine might so that Xuanxin could clearly see everything outside. Then, Su Fong looked at Di Yuan. His sharp gaze and the powerful clone of the Ji people beside Su Fong made Di Yuan's heart palpitate. He was on full alert. Unexpectedly, Su Fong released his divine might and sent the maidservants who were guarding Su Yaotian and the others flying. Then he put his father, Su Yaotian, Xin Yintian, and the others into his inner world. Di Yuan, you deserve to die. Only then did Su Fong look at Di Yuan. His sharp killing intent surged into the sky. Di Yuan laughed wantonly. I'm the Yuan Tiangong saint, and I've saved all the worlds in the universe. All the worlds and creatures in the universe must worship me. Who dares to kill me? Who can kill me? Who do you think you are, Su Fong? How dare you try to kill me? Su Fong couldn't help but laugh. You saved all the worlds in the universe? You entered the celestial worthy mountain and stopped the world's metamorphosis? Di Yuan's eyes flashed with shame and anger. He snorted and said, Although I couldn't enter the celestial worthy mountain and stop the world's metamorphosis from continuing, it's because of me that the heavenly Tao river of order returned to normal. Otherwise, all the worlds would have been destroyed in the calamity. Even you, being able to escape the heavenly Tao river by luck, is also thanks to me. Su Fong was stunned. Then, he laughed loudly as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. Di Yuan sneered. What are you laughing at? Su Fong said, I'm laughing at you. You're actually so shameless. Di Yuan shouted angrily. This matter was personally said by the transcendents guarding the celestial worthy mountain. You dare to question it? It's a capital offense. Su Fong released Chu Bingyin and Qian Gang from his body. Then let them tell you what happened in the prison suppression codex. The moment the two of them appeared, Di Yuan's expression changed instantly. You're actually still alive. He immediately understood. Su Fong, you're that middle-aged itinerant cultivator who can control the heavenly Tao's power of order. Su Fong sneered and said, You're not too stupid after all. In the prison suppression codex, I saw with my own eyes that you fled for your life in a sorry state. How can such a person save all the worlds? What a joke. Di Yuan's face instantly turned ashen. Where are the experts from the Sanskrit who entered the divine prison of law? Su Fong, where are the Yi clan's expert, Yi Ling, and the genius, Il Woyang? Quickly release the people from the Luo clan. The Sanskrit, the Luo clan, the Ji people, the Yi clan, and other forces that had experts who died in the prison suppression codex all shouted loudly. The supreme being of the imperial people shouted in a deep voice, Let Chu Bingyin and Qian Gang tell us what exactly happened in the divine prison of law. Chu Bingyin slowly told everyone about Luo Xingtian and the Luo clan's great elder, Luo Yunxin's plot against many cultivators, how they were devoured by the resurrected sovereign Jiang Taijia, and what happened in the prison suppression codex. Qian Gang also confirmed what Chu Bingyin said. The Luo clan suddenly became the target of public criticism. Eyes full of hatred looked at the Luo clan's sovereign and the higher-ups of the Luo clan. It turns out that the culprit who caused the river of heavenly Tao to be polluted in the chaos of heaven and earth was the Luo clan. Luo clan, this time, you must give all the worlds an explanation. The supreme being of the imperial people glanced at the Luo clan's sovereign and snorted inexplicably. Everyone from the Luo clan, including the Luo clan's sovereign, turned pale. This time, the Luo clan was in big trouble. Chu Bingyan and Qian Gang were later taken into Su Fang's inner world. They knew nothing about what happened after that. The Ji people's first ancestor shouted, "Su Fang, where's my clan's second ancestor?" Su Fang said coldly and embarrassedly, "I suppressed him and took over his body. He was killed in a battle with the Yi clan's expert, Yi Ling. Not even his corpse was left. Just before I entered the Yuan Tiangong, your Ji people's third ancestor, Ji Lai, and hundreds of Ji people's experts were all killed by me. Su Fang, you're courting death." The Ji people's first ancestor exploded in anger. He reached out and grabbed, and Su Fang's body flew uncontrollably towards him. Just as Su Fang was about to be killed by the Ji people's first ancestor, a cold aura that seemed to come from the underworld surged out from Su Fang's body. Even the Ji people's first ancestor, a venerable sovereign, found it difficult to shackle this aura. His divine power was shattered. Immediately after, a figure appeared in front of Su Fang and pounced towards the Ji people's first ancestor. Boom! A river of the underworld filled with the aura of death surged towards the Ji people's first ancestor, crushing the Ji people's first ancestor's divine body. The Ji people's first ancestor's yang spirit escaped with a whoosh and quickly reformed his physical body. He looked unscathed, but in fact he had lost his divine body and his strength had dropped by more than 3 levels. It was unknown how many tens of thousands of years and how much energy it would take for him to recover. The person who attacked was Su Fang's doppelganger, replicated by you using the Hunyuan sacred mirror. Venerable Sovereign. Su Fang actually has a venerable sovereign by his side, and it's a very powerful one. This venerable sovereign has the aura of the underworld and a trace of transcendence. Who is this person? Everyone in the palace was extremely shocked by Yu's doppelganger. The palace instantly fell into a dead silence. The peerless venerable sovereigns also looked at Yu's doppelganger in horror, their eyes filled with fear. The peerless imperial people stared at Yu's doppelganger with shock, doubt, and fear in their eyes. Obviously, they were suspicious of Yu's origin. In Su Fang's inner world, loud cheers erupted like a tsunami. Su Fang's family, friends, and subordinates. Chapter 2342. Su Fang looked at the Ji people's first ancestor with eyes full of mockery and disdain. So what if the Ji people had a venerable sovereign expert? They were still killed by Su Fang. The Ji people's second ancestor and third ancestor were all killed by Su Fang. Even the Ji people's first ancestor, who had just become a venerable sovereign, was almost suppressed. Almost everyone had the same thought. Su Fang was the nemesis of the Ji people. The Ji people's first ancestor looked at Su Fang with eyes full of resentment and fear. He had lost the courage to take revenge. Su Fang did not continue to pursue the Ji people's first ancestor. Shroud Clone could only be used 3 times. Even if he could kill the Ji people's first ancestor, Su Fang would lose this protective talisman. Su Fang, what happened in the prison suppressing codex? The imperial people's supreme existence asked in a deep voice. This was what everyone was most concerned about. Su Fang narrated the events that happened in the prison suppressing codex to everyone. Su Fang had completely forgotten about Goddess Luo's memories, so he was naturally unable to tell them. As for matters related to the primordial chaos, sacred mirror, and the 4 symbols transformation, Su Fang was vague. As for Shroud, who was sealed in the prison suppressing codex by the celestial venerable, Su Fang did not hide anything, including how Shroud killed Jiang Taijia and prevented the river of heavenly Tao from being polluted. Su Fang did not hold back at all. Su Fang's words caused everyone to be deeply shocked. Only then did they understand what kind of shocking things had happened in the prison suppressing codex. At the same time, they also understood that it was Shroud who had saved the entire universe. It was not Di Yuan who had broken into the celestial venerable mountain and triggered the restrictions inside. Su Fang had helped you escape. This also meant that he was the one who had saved the myriad realms. As for Di Yuan, he was purely a joke. Di Yuan sneered disdainfully, breaking the silence. The matter of me saving the myriad worlds was personally mentioned by the Mountain Guardian. You want to overturn a supreme, transcendent being with just your one-sided words? This is the biggest joke in the world. Su Fang's words are full of loopholes. Even Chu Bingyin and Qian Gang's words can't be taken seriously, said the Luo clan's venerable ancestor. As long as we suppress Su Fang and search his soul, the truth will be revealed. The higher-ups of the imperial people, the Sanskrit, the Yi clan, and the other god clans, as well as the venerable sovereigns, glared at Su Fang with murderous intent. If Su Fang's words were confirmed, it would mean that Di Yuan's so-called saving of the myriad worlds was a complete lie. Then, wouldn't the imperial people be ridiculed? What made the imperial people lose face in particular was that not only did Di Yuan seize Su Fang's credit, but he also forced Su Fang's Dao companion to marry and humiliated Su Fang's family and friends. Moreover, the marriage alliance was approved by the supreme existence of the imperial people. It was because of his connivance that Di Yuan was so deranged. As a result, not only Di Yuan, but the entire imperial people's faces were slapped by Su Fang. Not only did the imperial people's prestige suffer, QL11, the Luo clan, Sanskrit, and Yi clan's powerhouse's performance in the prison suppressing codex was not very glorious. Especially the Luo clan. Once Su Fang's words were confirmed, they would be condemned by the public and spurned by the myriad worlds. Although the venerable sovereigns of these three clans did not show it on the surface, their hearts were already surging with killing intent. Moreover, Su Fang had obtained the prison suppressing codex and the heaven supervisor token. If he was suppressed, thinking of these two divine weapons, the venerable sovereigns' hearts were also surging with greed. There was also the Ji people's first ancestor. His killing intent towards Su Fang had already reached the heavens. The three of them sensed every move of the supreme existence of the imperial people. As long as the supreme existence of the imperial people gave the slightest hint, they would not hesitate to suppress Su Fang. As for Yu's clone, although they were wary of it, it was not to the extent that they did not dare to make a move. The supreme existence of the imperial people closed his eyes. At this moment, he was using a forbidden technique to communicate with the guardian of the celestial worthy mountain. What this child said is not wrong. The guardian's reply made the supreme existence of the imperial people's heart sink to the bottom of the valley. However, he did not make a decision for a long time. In the eyes of the supreme existence of the imperial people, Su Fang was just an ant-like existence. In the past, he saw that Su Fang's talent was heaven-defying. He even alarmed the heavenly venerates will when he was at Dao integration. That was why he favored him and helped him several times. However, at this moment, it concerned the reputation of the imperial people. Since the celestial worthy mountain could no longer be opened, Su Fang would lose his value. Between the reputation of the imperial people and Su Fang, a mere Dao integration cultivator, the supreme existence of the imperial people did not find it difficult to make a choice. The only thing that the supreme existence of the imperial people was wary of was Yu. At this moment, he already knew Yu's identity. He was the son of the heavenly Dao, the ruler of the 10 underworlds, and a supreme existence who had transcended. How could he not be wary of such a heaven-defying existence? Just as the supreme existence of the imperial people was hesitating. Sheng Wuji secretly transmitted his voice to Su Fang using his vital spirit. Su Fang, you're too reckless. Even if you have a venerable emperor powerhouse by your side, you shouldn't be so arrogant. You even want to offend the imperial people to the death. Quickly think of a way to escape. Su Fang was grateful and replied, "Thank you for your reminder, senior. I have a plan." The venerable emperor powerhouses of the Luo clan, Sanskrit, Yi clan, and Ji people saw the hesitation of the supreme existence of the imperial people and immediately made a decision. The venerable emperor of the Luo clan shouted majestically, "Su Fang, I suspect that you colluded with the resurrected powerhouse and were even controlled by the evil god. That's why you were able to survive the prison suppression codex. Now, you're spouting nonsense and slander my clan. I'm going to suppress you and search your soul to prove my Luo clan's innocence." That's right. I suspect that the powerhouses and geniuses of my E-clan were killed by you colluding with the resurrected powerhouse. The venerable emperor of the E-clan said coldly. The venerable emperor of the Sanskrit snorted. Su Fong, you killed countless members of the Sanskrit clan. This time, you even killed the clan leader of the Sanskrit branch in the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. How can I tolerate you? The venerable emperor of the Ji people was also filled with killing intent. Chu Bingyan shouted, Venerable emperors, how can you distort the truth? The venerable emperor of the Ji people snorted, Ignorant junior. In the myriad of worlds, the will of a supreme venerable emperor is the will of the heavenly Tao. The words of a venerable emperor powerhouse are the laws of the heavens. If you say he's black, he's black. If you say he's white, he's white. Under the gazes of the 4 venerable emperors and the other higher-ups, they felt like a pack of hungry wolves, and Su Fong was a little lamb without any protection. No hurry, no impatience. Su Fong stood there casually. It was as if even the collapse of the heavens and the earth wouldn't be able to shake him in the slightest. Di Yuan regained his previous imposing manner and looked at Su Fong sympathetically. He transmitted his voice. Su Fong, even if you save the myriad of worlds, so what? In the end, you still can't escape death. Who told you to be so weak and so stupid? Su Fong replied, I'll make you kneel in front of me and kowtow 3 times and 9 times to apologize to Xuan Xin, my family, and friends. Di Yuan snorted. You're about to die, yet you're still so calm. Do you have something to rely on? You're probably still dreaming that the Nirvana-level expert shackled in the prison suppressing codex will come and save you, right? Stop dreaming. In the eyes of a Nirvana-level expert, you're just a lowly and insignificant existence like an ant. Besides, even if that Nirvana-level expert will stand up for you, don't forget that the Mountain Guardian is a Nirvana-level expert from the Imperial people. The Nirvana-level expert you're talking about has been sealed for countless years. How can he be a match for the Mountain Guardian? Di Yuan mocked and ridiculed. He looked at Su Fong as if he was looking at a dead man. Boom! 4 wills erupted at the same time. Like supreme existences that ruled the heavens and the earth, they locked onto Su Fong and Mystery's clones. 4 venerable emperors, their wills were the heavenly Tao's laws. Their wills were the heavenly Tao's laws. With a single thought, the heavens and the earth would collapse and everything would be destroyed. It was the Ji people's first ancestor and the other 3 venerable emperors. They attacked at the same time, wanting to suppress Su Fong. If you kill me, the myriad of worlds will lose any chance of survival. The heavens and the earth, including all of you, will die in the catastrophe and be devoured by the evil god. An aura suddenly surged out of Su Fong's body. The Origin's sacred mirror appeared in his right hand. Wait. The Imperial people's supreme existence's divine light changed instantly. With a thunderous roar, he took a step forward and directly arrived in front of Su Fong. The 4 wills that locked onto Su Fong and Mystery's clones instantly collapsed. The Imperial people's supreme existence waved his hand. The Origin's sacred mirror was no longer under Su Fong's control. It flew directly into his hand. After carefully sensing it, the Imperial people's supreme existence's body trembled. His eyes flashed with a terrifying light. The Origin sacred mirror. It's the Origin sacred mirror. The Origin sacred mirror? Most people, including some venerable emperors, were confused. They did not understand, but they felt that it was amazing. A few venerable emperors were shocked. They were shocked, and then they were pleasantly surprised. No wonder. I see. The Imperial people's supreme existence muttered to himself. He was extremely excited. Di Yuan realized that something was wrong. He transmitted his voice to a high-ranking Imperial people and asked, What kind of magic treasure is the Origin sacred mirror? How can it make the supreme existence of my race lose his composure? The high-ranking Imperial people also seemed to be extremely excited. He replied, The Origin sacred mirror is the token used to enter the Celestial Worthy Mountain. Before the world changed, the Celestial Worthy Mountain would automatically open once every era to recruit peerless geniuses. In addition, with the Origin Sacred Mirror, one could directly enter the celestial worthy mountain. Yuan was shocked. It's actually that supreme treasure that surpasses any divine creation artifact. No wonder Su Fong, a lowly ant from the great world, could have such a heaven-defying talent. It turns out that he has such a treasure. After a while, almost everyone knew the origin of the Origin Sacred Mirror and fell into ecstasy. What did it mean to have this supreme treasure? It meant that they could use the Origin Sacred Mirror to enter the celestial worthy mountain again and find the truth of the world's change. They could completely stop the world's change from happening. It also meant that the catastrophe that would destroy the world could be resolved. Everyone's eyes were focused on the Origin Sacred Mirror, as if they saw the hope of the future. The Imperial People's supreme existence quickly returned to normal and directly stored the Origin Sacred Mirror into his body. Chapter 23:43. I didn't expect the supreme existence of the Imperial People to be so greedy. Su Fong thought to himself. He finally saw what kind of face the legendary supreme existence had. When I was merging with the Tao, the supreme existence of the Imperial People extracted the essence of the Shaoyang Divine Sun and Shaoyin Divine Moon and put them into my heavenly Tao Palace. Later, he personally conferred me the title of the Yuan Tiangong Saint. I was originally grateful to him. When I was trapped in the Prison Suppression Codex, everyone thought that I was going to die. The supreme existence of the Imperial People connived with Di Yuan and wantonly humiliated my family. Since when did he care about me? Now, he actually wants to snatch my Origin Sacred Mirror. He even wants to protect my life and bestow me with good fortune. It turns out, in his eyes, I'm just a valuable chess piece. When I'm useful, he'll rope me in. When I'm no longer useful, he'll mercilessly abandon me. The heavenly Tao is heartless. These supreme existences are even more heartless than the heavenly Tao. In their eyes, nothing else is important except for benefits. Su Fong sneered in his heart. A faint mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. The supreme existence of the Imperial People raised his eyebrows slightly. Su Fong, you dare to look down on me? A terrifying pressure surged out from the void. Su Fong felt that the entire heavenly Tao was suppressing him. His divine body was shattering layer by layer. His bones cracked. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, he knelt on the ground. This supreme existence of the Imperial People was the strongest person below the transcendence level. He surpassed any venerable sovereign. No matter how extraordinary Su Fong was, he was like a weak chicken in front of such a powerful supreme existence. He had no power to resist. Even Mystery's clone beside him could not bear the pressure of the supreme existence of the Imperial People. Her body swayed and was suppressed to the point that she could not stand. She knelt on one knee. Di Yuan sneered with satisfaction. Arrogant fool, you think you can look down on the supreme existence of my race just because you offered a peerless treasure? You're courting death. Just use soul search and extract his memories. Everything will be clear. The G people's first ancestor sneered disdainfully in his heart. You're still young and foolish. Do you think that the Imperial People won't deal with you just because you took out the Hunyuan Sacred Mirror? It's just a pity that the Primordial Chaos Sacred Mirror, as well as the Prison Suppressing Codex and the Heavenly Supervisor Token, these two heavenly law divine artifacts, are all going to fall into the hands of the Imperial People. The Imperial People's Supreme Being's eyes flashed, and he was about to perform a soul search on Su Fong to find the whereabouts of the black side of the Origin Sacred Mirror. Su Fong was bleeding profusely from the corner of his mouth. It was a horrifying sight. His eyes were still filled with unyielding pride. I can't stop you from searching my soul. However, there's one thing I can guarantee. Once you really do that, the consequences will not be just you. The entire universe will not be able to bear it. A transcendent being from the 10 Serenities. Seeing that Su Fong was so calm, the Imperial People's Supreme Being thought of Mystery. His heart skipped a beat, and the terrifying pressure that enveloped Su Fong instantly disappeared. He immediately dismissed the idea of performing a soul search and said in a low voice, "This concerns the safety of the entire universe." I was a little impatient. No matter what, the primordial chaos sacred mirror will not be in the hands of a mere Tao integration cultivator like you. You have to understand this. Su Fong circulated the blood energy in his body and rapidly healed the injuries on his divine body. Then, he kept Mystery's clone back into his body. He then smiled embarrassedly. "I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. The primordial chaos sacred mirror can only be in my hands." The Imperial People Supreme being said coldly, "Is that so?" Di Yuan scolded, "Arrogant. It seems that if I don't perform a soul search on him, he won't understand what the heavenly Tao's prestige is." Su Fong frowned and said, "Shut up, you clown." Di Yuan was enraged, and a sharp killing intent surged out. Noisy. The Imperial People Supreme being snorted coldly and waved his hand to sweep Di Yuan off the high platform. Su Fong said, "The origin holy mirror, other than me and the person who possesses the other side, who cultivates a supreme cultivation technique and grasps a special hand seal. No one else can use it. If you don't believe me, why don't you give it a try? There's a Dharma treasure in this world that I can't activate." The Imperial People Supreme being chuckled. He rolled out the primordial chaos sacred mirror and tried to activate it. However, no matter how he tried, the primordial chaos sacred mirror did not move at all. It was like an ordinary ancient mirror. Not to mention activating the primordial chaos sacred mirror, he couldn't even enter the internal space of the primordial chaos sacred mirror. The Imperial People Supreme being frowned, and he felt a burning sensation on his face. Only then did he realize that he had been too impatient under the temptation of a Tao integration cultivator. He had embarrassed himself in front of a Tao integration cultivator. At this moment, the G People's first ancestor said, "It can't be any simpler. Just seize his body and activate the primordial chaos sacred mirror." The Imperial People Supreme being's eyes flickered. He was indeed persuaded by the G People's first ancestor. Su Fong looked at the G People's first ancestor, and a sharp murderous intent flashed across his eyes. Then, he said, "The primordial chaos sacred mirror is a peerless Dharma treasure personally refined by the Supreme Heavenly Venerate. It has already recognized me as its master. Only I can join forces with the other owner of the primordial chaos sacred mirror to activate it. If you seize my body and make a fool of yourself, why don't you gamble with the fate of the entire universe?" The Imperial People Supreme being did not dare to take the risk. After pondering for a moment, he secretly communicated with a mountain guardian who had been paying attention to this place. "This child is right. The primordial chaos sacred mirror is indeed personally refined by the Supreme Heavenly Venerate. It's definitely not an ordinary Dharma treasure. This child has caused many heavenly Tao phenomena and even awakened the Supreme Heavenly Venerate's will. It's obvious that he has obtained the Supreme Heavenly Venerate's approval. If we seize his body, the consequences will be unpredictable. It's related to the life and death of the entire universe." The Mountain Guardian's words made the Imperial People Supreme being completely give up on the idea of seizing Su Fong's body. "Tell me your conditions. For the sake of the entire universe, I can agree to any conditions." After pondering for a moment, the Imperial People Supreme being could only say helplessly, "Su Fong possessed the primordial chaos sacred mirror, and only he could activate it. The primordial chaos sacred mirror was related to the future of the entire universe. With this trump card, even if the Imperial People Supreme being's strength was heaven-defying, he would not be able to do anything to Su Fong. Ever since the Imperial People Supreme being became a Supreme Heavenly Venerate, this was the first time he had a compromise with someone. Moreover, this time, he had a compromise with a Tao integration stage ant. He could not help but feel a surge of anger in his heart. Su Fong smiled embarrassedly. "Sir, can you return the mirror to me?" The Imperial People Supreme being snorted coldly and swept the primordial chaos sacred mirror towards Su Fong. Just like that, The supreme Dharma treasure that had already been in his hands had no choice but to be returned. Su Fang's cold gaze looked toward Di Yuan, and then toward the Ji people's supreme being. Their hearts suddenly sank, and a feeling of impending disaster quickly welled up in their hearts. I only have 3 conditions. Speak, Su Fang said resolutely and decisively. First, save my Tao companion. If you can't save Xuanxin, there's no need to mention the other conditions. Phoenix Xuanxin consumed nirvana. Pill and nirvana. Pill is the supreme elixir of the divine phoenix ancient clan. Unless you use the purest divine phoenix blood essence to strengthen her divine phoenix bloodline, there's no way for her to fuse with nirvana. Pill and nirvana. Rebirth. QL11. However, the divine phoenix has long been extinct in the universe. There are very few divine birds with pure divine phoenix blood essence. It's not enough for Phoenix Xuanxin's bloodline to be strong enough to fuse with nirvana. To the point of pill. The imperial people's supreme being frowned and shook his head as he spoke. Kill all the members of the divine phoenix ancient clan and refine their blood. You'll always be able to collect enough pure divine phoenix blood essence. Su Fang's voice was extremely cold. The expressions of the members of the divine phoenix ancient clan changed instantly. They were all scared out of their wits. The others were also trembling with fear. Su Fang actually wanted to exterminate the entire divine phoenix ancient clan in exchange for the life of his Tao companion. He was actually so ruthless. The imperial people's supreme being looked at the members of the divine phoenix ancient clan coldly. Su Fang, Phoenix Xuanxin is a genius that the divine phoenix ancient clan has spent countless efforts and resources to cultivate. How can you repay kindness with ingratitude? The clan leader of the divine phoenix ancient clan shouted angrily. Su Fang's voice was cold. From a moment the divine phoenix ancient clan betrayed Xuanxin, Xuanxin was no longer a member of the divine phoenix ancient clan. Xuanxin's life is hanging by a thread because of you. It's only right to use the entire divine phoenix ancient clan in exchange for Xuanxin's life. Su Fang, you've gone too far. The clan leader of the divine phoenix ancient clan was filled with grief and indignation. He was so angry that he fainted. The various divine clans and forces that had been envious of the divine phoenix ancient clan now looked at the senior members of the divine phoenix ancient clan with sympathy. There were also many people who gloated over their misfortune. The imperial people's supreme being pondered for a moment and said in a low voice, "All right, I'll agree to it." Everyone in the divine phoenix ancient clan felt as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. Everyone was in despair. Xuanxin has the true body of the ice phoenix and has consumed the nirvana pill. Nirvana pill? The possibility of him being reborn is 30% higher than the other members of the divine phoenix ancient clan. Our clan has more than a dozen drops of ancient divine phoenix blood essence and several drops of ice phoenix heart blood. We're willing to offer them all to help Xuanxin achieve nirvana pill. A middle-aged woman from the divine phoenix ancient clan spoke up. She was Xuanxin's master. The imperial people's supreme being looked at Su Fang. What do you think? Su Fang snorted coldly. Xuanxin's master knelt on the ground and begged, "Please let my clan go on account of the fact that I've nurtured Xuanxin." The other senior members of the divine phoenix ancient clan also knelt down and begged for mercy. The imperial people's supreme being said, "What if your Tao partner can achieve nirvana pill? Rebirth can be said to be a blessing in disguise. His future is limitless. Even if he can't become the arch, he will still be a peerless god. Why do you have to be so unforgiving?" Su Fang was unmoved. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? This is also the karma of the divine phoenix ancient clan. No one can blame you. At this moment, Xuanxin spoke in his inner world. Su Fang, forget it. After all, I'm indebted to the divine phoenix ancient clan. I'll let them go this time. Su Fang knew that although Xuanxin looked cold, he was actually very affectionate. In the divine phoenix ancient clan, his master had indeed taken good care of him. Naturally, he couldn't bear to exterminate the divine phoenix ancient clan. Fine. If Xuanxin can be saved, I won't pursue the matter with the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan. Su Fang's words made the members of the Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan feel as if they had been granted amnesty. They instantly heaved a long sigh of relief. The Imperial People Supreme being continued. Su Fang, state your other two conditions. Chapter 2344. Su Fang's words immediately caused an uproar. Ever since Di Yuan failed at the exalted celestial mountain, his temperament had become twisted and overbearing. Unexpectedly, Su Fang was even more overbearing than him. Destroying his cultivation path and kneeling down to admit his mistake was even more unbearable than killing Di Yuan. First, he wanted to annihilate the entire Divine Phoenix Ancient Clan. Then, he actually used such extreme methods to take revenge on Di Yuan. Everyone's evaluation of Su Fang was only one word: ruthless. Di Yuan roared furiously. Su Fang, you're courting death. The Supreme Imperial People raised his eyebrows. Di Yuan is a peerless genius of our clan. At the same time, he's also the Yuan Tiangong saint. This condition is absolutely impossible. Di Yuan can admit his mistake, but if you want to destroy his cultivation path, we, the Supreme Imperial People, definitely can't do it. If they really agreed to Su Fang's condition, not only would it destroy Di Yuan, but it would also be a heavy blow to the Imperial People's reputation and prestige. How could the Supreme Imperial People agree? Di Yuan is of noble birth, and his cultivation talent is also extraordinary. However, in the eyes of Su Fang, he's just a piece of trash who only knows how to bully others. The condition of destroying his cultivation path can be waived because I don't care. Not only now, but in the future, I'll always step on his head. I won't bother to destroy him. Su Fang smiled faintly and said unhurriedly. His understatement revealed a domineering aura that looked down on everything, causing Di Yuan to grit his teeth. Then, Su Fang changed the topic. However, Di Yuan must kowtow 3 times and kowtow 9 times to apologize to my family and friends. This condition is absolutely unchangeable. Di Yuan shouted angrily. Su Fang, don't push your luck. Am I, Su Fang, pushing my luck? Su Fang looked coldly at Di Yuan. You forced my cultivation partner to marry you. You wantonly humiliated my father, family, and friends, trampling on their dignity. At that time, did you ever think about their feelings? Di Yuan snorted disdainfully. They're just a bunch of ants. Who do you think you are? Other than being of noble birth, what else do you have that makes you nobler than others? Su Fang mocked. Then he shouted domineeringly, right now, in my eyes, you're just a clown, an ant. I want you to have a taste of what it's like to be trampled under someone's feet and wantonly. The Supreme Imperial People said decisively, King, and Di Yuan will kneel and apologize to you, your family and friends. Absolutely, Di Yuan cried out unwillingly. Before Su Fang appeared, how awe-inspiring was Di Yuan? How domineering was he? Yet now, he had fallen from the lofty clouds to the ground. The blow he received was several times more disastrous than the defeat on the exalted celestial mountain. QL11, it was easy to imagine how he felt at this moment. Or, as you wish, Su Fang readily agreed. Since you're so stubborn, then I'll beat you until you kneel down and admit your wrongs. I'll have everyone see that the so-called number 1 genius of Primordius Heavenly Palace, the savior of all the heavens, is in truth nothing but an idiot, nothing but trash. Di Yuan shouted savagely. I'll be waiting for you here 100 years later. Let's see who will kneel in front of whom. Then Di Yuan turned and left through the array formation. He left the palace. The Supreme Imperial People said in a low voice, Su Fang, state your 3rd condition. Su Fang looked at the G people's first ancestor and said in an extremely cold voice, My 3rd condition is to kill the G people's first ancestor and exterminate the entire G people. The G people's first ancestor roared, Su Fang, you're courting death. Su Fang smiled coldly. I've said before that I'll exterminate the entire G people. I, Su Fang, am a man of my words. This time, I'm going to fulfill my promise. Su Fang, The universe is currently in an endless calamity. The resurrected powerful beings, the demon race, and the evil Tao are rampant. Every Dharch is the mainstay of the human race. How can you threaten me to kill a supreme Dharch just because of your personal anger? Also, you've killed so many People's experts. Isn't that enough to vent the anger in your heart? The Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor raised his eyebrows, revealing his anger. Su Fong sneered. If the People's first ancestor can really contribute to the human race, I can naturally let him go this time. However, the People are colluding with the demon race. Who can guarantee that the People's first ancestor isn't a spy from the demon race who infiltrated the Yuan Tiangong? The People's first ancestor scoffed. Nonsense. This emperor is a supreme Dharch. In the universe, I'm already a peak existence. What benefits can colluding with the demon race bring to this emperor? The Supreme Imperial People snorted. The People are colluding with the demon race? Do you have any evidence? In the divine prison of law, the demon race's experts infiltrated the divine prison of law together with the People. Furthermore, the People's experts colluded with the demon race's experts. I almost lost my life to them. This is the evidence. Moreover, that demon race's expert is called Yuan Fu. He's not an ordinary expert. He's the doppelganger of a demon race expert who's equivalent to a Dharch. How can the People's first ancestor not know that such a demon race expert is colluding with the People's experts? Su Fong made a clanging sound. In the palace, there was a burst of whispers. The Supreme Imperial People's cold eyes looked at the People's first ancestor. Emperor, is there such a thing? The People's first ancestor said flatly. Absolutely impossible. Even if there's such a thing, it's our clansmen colluding with the demon race to avenge Su Fong. There's no way the People are colluding with the demon race. This emperor can swear to the heavenly Tao that if this emperor's words are false, I'm willing to be punished by the heavens. Su Fong said coldly and embarrassedly, You're the arch expert. Naturally, you have the supreme forbidden technique to avoid the heavenly Tao's punishment. The so-called heavenly Tao oath is no different from a fart. The People's first ancestor shouted coldly, What do you want? Su Fong said, It's very simple. Let the Supreme Imperial People search your soul. Naturally, they'll know whether you're telling the truth or not. Su Fong, you're just a Tao integration cultivator. How dare you be so rude to this emperor? The People's first ancestor's divine aura changed instantly. While he was burning with anger, waves of heavenly sound vibrated and roared around his body. The Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor was about to refute Su Fong when the Mountain Guardian's majestic voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Do as Su Fong said, search his soul. The Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor was surprised. Could it be that the People's first ancestor is really colluding with the demon race? Did the Mountain Guardian notice something? Without hesitation, he said indifferently to the People's first ancestor, Then I'll have to trouble you, Emperor. I'll use my race's supreme forbidden technique to search your soul. I won't harm you in the slightest. The People's first ancestor shouted in grief and indignation. You actually listened to a Tao integration cultivator and wanted to search the soul of a supreme Dharch? I'd rather die than be humiliated like this. The Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor said coldly. Could it be as Su Fong said, that the People really have some kind of unclear relationship with the demon race? I didn't expect that the Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor, the supreme ruler of the Yuan Tiangong, would be manipulated by a Tao integration cultivator. Since the Yuan Tiangong doesn't want to keep me, I'll leave the Yuan Tiangong. The universe is so big. Is there no place for me to stay? The People's first ancestor looked at Su Fong. In an instant, Su Fong felt a vast and mysterious power vibrate in his divine aperture. It was as if heaven and earth were falling apart, and it wanted to shatter his young spirit and divine aperture. Su Fong is the only hope of the universe. You actually want to kill him? You're courting death. The Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor shouted coldly, and a burst of primordial spirit power swept out. No one between heaven and earth could resist such an astonishing primordial spirit power. The primordial spirit power cast by the G People's first ancestor was immediately shattered. Only then did Su Fong escape the disaster. His heart was palpitating with fear. The G People's first ancestor sneered, and his figure fled into the void. "Stay here for me." As soon as the Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor spoke, a sudden clap of thunder sounded in the void, and the G People's first ancestor was instantly engulfed. Unexpectedly, in the next moment, the physical body of the G People's first ancestor exploded, shattering the surrounding thunder and lightning. An astonishing demonic aura surged into the sky, enveloping the entire palace in an instant. Then, the G People's first ancestor transformed into countless phantoms, flashing in all directions and drilling into the bodies of those cultivators. Demon race. The G People's first ancestor is actually a demon race powerhouse. Everyone in the palace exclaimed loudly. Unexpectedly, the G People's first ancestor was actually a demon race powerhouse. Even Su Fong was surprised. He thought that the G People were colluding with the demon race, but he didn't expect that the G People's first ancestor was actually a demon race powerhouse. It really is a demon race. They possessed the body of the G People's first ancestor and infiltrated the Yuan Tiangong. The Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor was shocked and angry. Those venerable sovereigns were also shocked. No one expected that the demon race would be so bold as to possess a supreme venerable sovereign and infiltrate the Yuan Tiangong. If Su Fong hadn't exposed them today, the consequences would have been unimaginable. The other cultivators were all trembling. I didn't expect that after I finally possessed the body of a venerable sovereign and infiltrated the Yuan Tiangong, I would fail because of a Dao integration cultivator. Su Fong, I'll make sure you die without a burial place. A venerable sovereign suddenly said coldly. This cultivator had already been possessed by the G People's first ancestor and was now under the control of the G People's first ancestor. Did the demon race think that they could be so arrogant in front of me just because they took advantage of the upheaval and walked out of the dark world? The Supreme Imperial People's first ancestor's expression became very ugly. He snorted coldly, and a bolt of heavenly lightning struck down, killing that venerable sovereign. The G People's first ancestor's voice came out from the mouths of the cultivators at the same time. I've used the demon race's supreme demon art. Right now, there are thousands of incarnations. At least half of the cultivators here have been possessed by me. Unless you kill everyone here, what can you do to me? The cultivators inside the palace suddenly panicked and fled toward the palace's exit. How dare you be so arrogant, demon race? An old voice reverberated in the palace. The voice was clearly transmitted into everyone's ears. The cultivators who hadn't been possessed by the G People's first ancestor immediately quieted down when they heard the old man's voice. The cultivators who had been possessed by the G People's first ancestor all screamed miserably when they heard the old man's voice. Wisps of demon chi drilled out of their bodies and quickly burned them to ashes, while those cultivators immediately returned to normal. It turned out that the mountain guardian had personally taken action. Although the demon race cultivator who had possessed the G People's first ancestor was extremely powerful and possessed an extremely strange demon art, he still couldn't escape the fate of being killed. Chapter 2345. The fate of the G People, who had once dominated the myriad heavens and realms, was now sealed. They were completely erased from the myriad heavens and realms. The extermination of the G People did not make anyone feel that the supreme being of the Imperial People was callous. Instead, they rejoiced endlessly. Everyone was grateful to Su Fong. If Su Fong had not exposed the G People's ancestor and allowed a demon tribe powerhouse at the level of a venerable sovereign to infiltrate the Yuan Tiangong, the myriad heavens and realms would not have been able to protect their last refuge. Thinking of the consequences, Not only the ordinary cultivators, but even the supreme venerable sovereigns felt a chill run down their spines. Fear and trepidation were evident in their eyes. Su Fong, I've already fulfilled all three of your conditions. Tell me, when can I enter the celestial worthy mountain? The supreme being of the imperial people stared at Su Fong as he spoke majestically. The imperial people had lost all faith this time. This supreme being of the imperial people did not seem to be in a good mood. Su Fong said slowly, "Although I have the origin holy mirror, it doesn't mean that I can enter the celestial worthy mountain easily. Even if I enter the celestial worthy mountain, it'll be difficult to find out the truth about the world's metamorphosis and stop it from happening if I'm not powerful enough." The supreme being of the imperial people nodded. "This concerns the life and death of the myriad heavens and realms. I'll do everything in my power to quickly increase your strength. What level of cultivation do you think you need to reach to enter the celestial worthy mountain?" "At least upper rank Lord level," Su Fong said without hesitation. "Upper rank Lord level?" The supreme being of the imperial people arched his brows. "You should know that there's not much time left for the myriad heavens and realms. How long will it take for you to elevate to upper rank Lord level?" 100,000 years. 100,000 years. You can elevate to upper rank Lord level in a mere 100,000 years? The supreme being of the imperial people found Su Fong's words hard to believe. Some of the venerable sovereigns scoffed, while others frowned. No one thought that Su Fong could advance from level 8 Dao integration to upper rank Lord level in a mere 100,000 years. Although Master Gods were not as rare as Emperor Masters, they were still rare existences. Countless cultivators had spent their entire lives working hard, but it was still difficult for them to reach the heights of sovereign. However, Su Fong was so confident that he could elevate to become a lord in 100,000 years. Moreover, he would be an upper-rank lord. How could others not be skeptical? Although 100,000 years is a short time, as long as I stay in Yuan Tiangong and don't spare any resources, I'll have at least a 70% chance of elevating to upper-rank lord level. Seeing Su Fong speak so confidently, the supreme existence of the imperial people no longer had any doubts. Su Fong had performed too many unbelievable miracles. Perhaps he really did have the confidence to elevate to upper-rank lord level within 100,000 years. So he asked, "What do you want?" "Yuan Tiangong must provide me with any elixirs, spirit items, or other resources I need." Your appetite is not small. This seed approves. Within 100,000 years, you must ensure that Xuanxin successfully fuses with Nirvana. Dan? Nirvana? Rebirth? Sure. I need at least 2 Emperor Masters to protect me at all times. 2 Emperor Masters. The supreme existence of the imperial people frowned again. You'll be staying in Yuan Tiangong all the time. Why do you need Emperor Masters to protect you? Who can guarantee that something like the Ji people's first ancestor won't happen again? Su Fong glanced at the Emperor Masters of Sanskrit, the Luo clan, and the Yi clan. The 3 supreme emperors were furious, but they did not say anything. QL11, Su Fong continued. Also, I must enter a dangerous place to rescue the holder of the other side of the origin holy mirror. Otherwise, I won't be able to enter the celestial worthy mountain alone. Without the help of Emperor Masters, not only will I not be able to rescue her, I might even lose my life in that dangerous place. The supreme existence of the imperial people nodded and said, "Is there such a thing? In that case, this emperor will send Sang Xiao and Wei Dao to protect you at all times." Su Fong took the opportunity to ask for an exorbitant price. "Thank you, sir. But 2 venerable emperors? That's still not enough. 2 supreme sovereigns, can't they protect you? Do you want this seat to personally stay by your side and protect you?" The Emperor clan's unmatched expert was finally angered by Su Fong's greed. Su Fong's expression did not change. "I don't dare. Sir, please send one of the 3 Emperor Masters of Sanskrit, the Yi clan and the Luo clan, to protect me. Then I will be at ease." The eyes of the 3 Emperor Realm Masters flickered slightly. The first ancestor of the Ji people had offended Su Fong. In the end, Not only did he lose his life, but the entire G people were about to be exterminated. How could they not be afraid of Su Fong? The supreme existence of the imperial people snorted. Fine, 3 Emperor Masters will take turns to protect you. Each of them will protect you for 30,000 years. That should be enough, right? Su Fong hesitated. What if they don't protect me and want to harm me? What should I do? Or what if they refuse to listen to me when I'm in danger? What should I do then? The supreme existence of the imperial people was furious. If any Emperor Masters harm you, this seat will exterminate their entire clan. In addition, the Emperor Masters in charge of protecting you must listen to your orders for the next 100,000 years. Otherwise, they will be punished by this seat. Thank you, sir. Su Fong was very happy in his heart. Now, it was equivalent to having 3 supreme Emperor Masters by his side. Even if someone wanted to harm him, including the Devil Race, the Evil Path, and the Resurrected Powerhouses, he would no longer have to worry about them. Moreover, with the Emperor Masters by his side, they could guide him in his cultivation at any time. Naturally, his cultivation speed would be much faster. As for the Emperor Masters of the Sanskrit, Yi clan, and Luo clan, Su Fong naturally had a use for them by his side. The 3 Emperor Masters all had extremely ugly expressions. They were like volcanoes that could erupt at any time. It was undoubtedly a humiliation to them that they, as dignified Emperor Realm Masters, had to obey the orders of a Tao integration cultivator. However, they had no choice but to obey the orders of the supreme existence of the imperial people. They could only suppress their anger. The supreme existence of the imperial people thought that Su Fong would not have any more requests after making so many requests in one go. Unexpectedly, Su Fong continued, "The Luo clan has a treasure of great importance. Please hand over this treasure. I will borrow it for a period of time. When the time comes, I will naturally return it." What Su Fong was talking about was the replica of the heavenly chessboard in the hands of the Luo clan. The Emperor Master of the Luo clan sneered, "Su Fong, do you want to lend the Luo clan's divine creation artifact to you?" The supreme existence of the imperial people shouted in dissatisfaction, "Su Fong, don't push your luck." Su Fong said sternly, "The Luo clan's treasure is related to whether or not we can rescue the holder the other side of the Origin Sacred Mirror. If the Luo clan is unwilling to lend it to us, and something happens, the Luo clan will bear all the consequences." "What treasure is that?" "It is one of the treasures I made a bet with Luo Xingtian." The Emperor Master of the Luo clan breathed a sigh of relief and said generously, "Those treasures are dispensable to my clan. I will give them all to you later." The supreme existence of the imperial people asked coldly, "Su Fong, do you have any more requests now?" Su Fong cupped his fists and said, "I am not greedy. I only asked for these treasures to prepare for entering the celestial worthy mountain, not for my own personal gain. Naturally, I will not covet the extra treasures." Not greedy? Selfless? The supreme existence of the imperial people was so angry that he laughed. Then he waved his hand. "Since you have no more requests, then go back and focus on cultivating. After 100,000 years, enter the celestial worthy mountain." "Yes." Su Fong cupped his fists and bowed to the supreme existence of the imperial people, then flew toward the entrance of the palace. Su Fong has defied the heavens again this time. This time, he is like an ant shaking the heavens. It's really incredible. This time, not only did he save his cultivation partner, family, and friends, but he also forced the supreme existence of the imperial people to bow down to him. He also received so many benefits. TSK, who would dare to touch him in the Yuan Tiangong in the future? I hope he can enter the celestial worthy mountain again and find a chance of survival for the myriad worlds. Looking at Su Fong's back, many experts exclaimed in their hearts, "Su Fong, don't be fooled by your arrogance this time. After 100,000 years, no matter whether you succeed or fail in entering the celestial worthy mountain, you will not be able to escape death. The imperial people are such a powerful force, yet you dare to defy the heavens. After you enter the celestial worthy mountain, You will know what it means to put away the bow after the birds are gone and cook the hound after the hares are gone. The emperor masters of the Sanskrit, the Yi clan, and the Luo clan, as well as the heavenly fire divine lord and other experts who hated Su Fong, all sneered in their hearts. Sheng Wuji and Mo Tiangong both sighed in their hearts. Obviously, they were worried about Su Fong's future. Just as everyone was having their own thoughts, a divine power quietly descended and enveloped everyone. Everyone was shocked to find that all their memories of the Origin Sacred Mirror were rapidly disappearing from their minds. A moment later, apart from the supreme existence of the imperial people who was not affected, the Emperor Masters who had some vague memories of the Origin Sacred Mirror had completely disappeared from everyone else's memories. The only one who could have such strength was the Transcender who guarded the celestial worthy mountain. Obviously, he did not want the news of the Origin Sacred Mirror to leak out and be known by the demon race and the resurrected experts. Su Fong left the Dubby space and arrived in the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. He staggered and almost lost his flight. Although he did not lose much energy this time, it was 100 times more dangerous than any previous fierce battle. It could be said that he was walking on the brink of death every moment. He looked relaxed and carefree, but in reality, the pressure he was enduring had long surpassed the limits of what he could bear. After all, he was only a Tao integration realm cultivator, and he was facing a supreme existence of the Emperor clan that surpassed any Emperor venerable. Chapter 2346. Su Fong came to the void where the celestial realm used to be and created a formation. Then he sat cross-legged in the formation. He immediately devoured pills, spiritual items, and the blood and demon aura of the ferocious pig be suppressed in the prison-suppressing codex, as well as the condensed blood crystals and crystals to quickly recover. The most important thing was still the consumption of his primordial spirit. Su Fong could only slowly recover by cultivating the night demon technique, the undying soul code. The golden rainbow monarch spoke in his inner world. "Kid, you look impressive this time. You slapped the imperial people's faces so hard. You've buried endless troubles for the future. I've never thought of becoming enemies with the imperial people, but Di Yuan is riding on my head. What can I do? If it was me who suffered some humiliation, I'd just endure it." However, Xuanxin was forced to marry. My father and other relatives and friends suffered great humiliation. If I still endure it, then what's the use of my cultivation? Cultivation is to seek an open-minded mind and live a happy life. There are some things that you know you can't do, but you have to do it, Su Fong said sternly. The Golden Rainbow Monarch was shocked by Su Fong's words. After a long time, he asked, "What will you do after 100,000 years? When you enter the celestial worthy mountain, the imperial people will not let you go, regardless of whether you can resolve the crisis of the myriad worlds or not. You will not be facing the venerable sovereigns, but the strongest god clan in the myriad worlds, or even a transcendent. Live well in the present. As for the future, there will always be a way to solve it. Even if I can't escape death, these 100,000 years can be considered a gain for me. Ha. I didn't expect you to be so open-minded. I'm ashamed." This time, Su Fong has completely offended the imperial people, but the benefits are unimaginable. Golden Rainbow Monarch, I promised you that I would help you reform your body and resurrect you. This time, I finally found the opportunity. The Golden Rainbow Monarch cried out in surprise. "You can really help me resurrect? You forgot that I have 3 supreme venerable sovereigns by my side. Wouldn't it be easy for them to help you resurrect? So this is the reason why you requested the supreme existence of the imperial people to have a venerable emperor protect you." The Golden Rainbow King was surprised and overjoyed. When Su Fong first entered Primordius' heavenly palace, Su Fong had mentioned this matter to him. Although the Golden Rainbow King held onto a glimmer of hope, he knew that this hope was extremely slim. He didn't think it would become a reality so soon. How could he not be ecstatic? He was so happy that he almost fainted. "I asked an Emperor Realm Master to protect me, not just to resurrect you." Su Fong chuckled. Then a young spirit came to the heaven realm that he had moved into his inner world. Father, grandfather, master, Grandpa Xianlingzi, I'm sorry for the shock. First, he paid his respects to his father, Su Yaotian, Xian Yintian, Shu Yunkong, Xianlingzi, and the others. Feng I've let you suffer this time. Su Yaotian's eyes were filled with tears, and he was filled with emotion. Xian Yintian stroked his white beard and said with a smile, "It's great that Su Feng can return safely and even vent our anger for us useless old things. Haha, it's still my discerning eyes that allowed Xuanxin and Su Feng to unite by marriage. Now that I think about it, I'm still the wisest one." Shu Yunkong bluntly added, "Why did I hear that you strongly opposed the marriage between Xuanxin and Su Feng?" It was Xuanxin who strongly insisted, and the two of them turned the fake into real, and finally the lovers got married? Xian Yintian rolled his eyes, causing everyone to burst into laughter. Xianlingzi smiled and said, "It would be even better if the two of them had a son as soon as possible." Swish, swish, swish. Su Yaotian and the others all looked at Su Feng with bright eyes. Cough, cough. Su Feng coughed a few times and quickly changed the topic. He flipped his hand and rolled out a xianguang. In the xianguang, there were more than 2,000 fist-sized fruits. These fruits were of different colors and shapes, and they emitted a strange xianguang, surrounded by the aura of the heavenly Tao. Su Feng released his will and sent out Li Haojia, the Lord of Five Poisons, Li Ziqing, Xiao Mei Zhang Rian, Lan Haicheng, and other good friends, as well as his once loyal subordinates from the Great World. Venerable Tyrant Blood and his son were saved by Su Feng in the divine prison of heaven. Later, they were sent to the heaven realm by Tsang Yanhai. At this time, they were also called by Su Feng. Su Feng, we're too useless. Not only did we not help you in any way, but we've also become a burden to you. Li Haojia looked ashamed. The Lord of Five Poisons and the others also felt guilty. Whether it was the Lord of Five Poisons, Zhang Rian, Qi Yanzi, or the others, they were all peerless geniuses in the great world. However, in the myriad worlds, they could only be considered as outstanding. This was also related to their experiences. They were brought to the myriad worlds by Su Feng's people and had been cultivating in the heaven realm. Although the speed of their improvement was shocking, they did not have any heaven-defying opportunities. Compared to Su Feng, they were naturally much more mediocre. This time, facing the imperial people, they could not do anything. "I'm here for you." Su Feng revealed a domineering smile. "Eat the fruit of Tao first, and change your cultivation talent. Then, I'll find a way to take away all the treasures in the Yuan Tiangong. With so many resources, do you still have to worry about not being able to become peerless experts?" Everyone was excited. He distributed the fruit of Tao to everyone and let them eat it first. The fruit of Tao that Su Feng took out were not ordinary items. Some experts used their own cultivation to condense Tao seeds in order to nurture their juniors. They constantly watered the seeds with Tao aura until they grew into a tree of Tao and condensed a fruit of Tao. Gods could increase the quality of their divinity by eating the fruit of Tao. After mortals ate the fruit of Tao, they could quickly become gods. Su Feng's fruit of Tao were all obtained by a Su Feng outside the Sin Garden. They contained pure and majestic Tao aura and were of unimaginable help to everyone. The peerless experts of the imperial people promised Su Feng that he could ask for all kinds of resources in the Yuan Tiangong. Su Feng would naturally not be polite. When the time came, he would plunder without restraint and use so many resources to create a group of peerless experts. Su Feng remembered that he still had a fruit of sin. To Azura, it was a peerless spiritual item. He could not help but think of Luo. I wonder where Luo is now. Qingyu, Sister Bai, and the others were sent out by the Ji people. I wonder how they are now. But with Qingyu around, they should not be in any danger. Then Su Feng went to a side hall. He passed through the array formation and came to the depths of the palace array formation. He saw Xuanxin sitting cross-legged in the middle of the array formation. Su Feng. Xuanxin stood up and suddenly jumped into Su Feng's arms. He hugged Su Feng tightly, as if he was afraid that Su Feng would run away. Nirvana? The pill hasn't taken effect yet? Su Fong asked worriedly. He felt a wave of pity and pity in his heart. Nirvana? The pill needs me to burn the Ice Phoenix bloodline and fuse with the medicinal power. Only then will the pill be activated. It's fine for now. Xuanxin's words made Su Fong feel more relieved. Next, Xuanxin took the Divine Phoenix blood essence and Ice Phoenix blood essence from the Divine Phoenix clan. Nirvana? The chance of rebirth was great. If he really succeeded, it would be a great fortune for Xuanxin. Dun. Thinking of Dun, Su Fong's heart surged with a fierce aura. When you're with me, forget all those messy things. Xuanxin saw through Su Fong's thoughts and said softly, Smack! Su Fong felt a burst of yang qi explode in his body. A flame was stirring in his body. He hugged Xuanxin affectionately. The aura emitted by the pure yang body was like a volcano, melting Xuanxin, the iceberg. The two of them quickly merged together. In the array formation, there was endless love. After an unknown amount of time and countless crazy times, the two of them recovered from the peak of bliss and calmness. Xuanxin suddenly said, Su Fong, it's strange. There seems to be a very important woman by your side, but I can't remember who she is. A very important woman? Su Fong's heart ached. No matter how hard he racked his brains, he could not remember who that person was. He only felt that a part of his destiny seemed to be missing. I'm still too weak now. My destiny is still controlled by others. Su Fong sighed inwardly. Su Fong, a thought was transmitted to him. It turned out that Emperor Sangxiu and Emperor Yi Dao had arrived. There was another Supreme Emperor with them. It was Fan Di from Sanskrit. Su Fong's original body left the square heaven realm and came outside the array formation. Emperor Sangxiu's divine light swept over Su Fong. He could not help but sigh. Su Fong, you've really defied the heavens this time. Su Fong revealed a helpless expression. I had no choice but to do so. Sanskrit's emperor snorted. Since ancient times, those who defied the heavens rarely had good endings. Su Fong glanced at Brahma Monarch and smiled casually. Lord Brahma Monarch seems to be very idle. Resurrected experts are wreaking havoc in the Hunyuan heaven boundary. I ask Lord Brahma Monarch to take action and kill all of them. This time, the resurrected powerhouses had broken through the Hunyuan heaven realm's world barrier and invaded the Hunyuan heaven realm. At this time, many Yuan Tiangong powerhouses had arrived and the situation was under control. However, it would not be easy to kill all of the resurrected powerhouses. Fan Di said coldly, Kid, I'm only here to protect you under the orders of the Supreme Imperial People. I'm not your subordinate. I'm a Supreme Emperor. How can a Dao integration stage cultivator like you order me around? Su Fong chuckled. Lord Fan Di, you've probably forgotten. The Supreme Imperial People said that the Emperor powerhouses responsible for protecting me must obey my orders for the next 100,000 years. Otherwise, they will be punished for disobeying orders. Lord Fan Di, you're not thinking of disobeying the Imperial People, are you? Su Fong, you win. Fan Di was furious. However, he did not dare to disobey the orders of the Supreme Imperial People. He had no choice but to follow Su Fong's orders. He suppressed his anger and attacked the resurrected powerhouses. Emperor Yi Dao laughed. Kid, you're really ruthless. You're ordering an Emperor powerhouse around like a hired thug. It would be strange if Fan Di didn't vomit blood from anger. Tell me, what do you want me to do? Chapter 23:47. Su Fong, if there's anything you need, feel free to tell me. As long as it's within this emperor's power, I will not refuse. Emperor Sangxiu nodded. Emperor Yi Dao stroked his beard. As long as you don't want this emperor to rob an emperor, this emperor will not refuse. Su Fong's attitude towards Emperor Sangxiu and Emperor Yi Dao was completely different from how he treated Brahma Monarch. The two peerless emperors were very satisfied. Which peerless emperor did not have some pride? If Su Fong ordered the two of them around like how he ordered Brahma Monarch, even if the two of them agreed to his request, they would definitely be very unhappy in their hearts. Many thanks, Emperor Lords. Su Fong cupped his fists and thanked them, then slowly told them about the Golden Rainbow King. The Golden Rainbow King's world spirit in Su Fong's inner world suddenly became nervous. How could he not be nervous when his life was at stake? A thief who's not even a domain lord is worth your trouble. Emperor Sang Xiao was a little surprised, thinking that Su Fong would ask for something big. This emperor is saved. This emperor can actually come back from the dead. The Golden Rainbow King's world spirit shouted excitedly, causing a huge commotion in his broken world. Su Fong said solemnly, "This person has helped me through many dangerous situations, and I once promised him that I would help him reconstruct his body. I hope Emperor Lords can help me. Although it's a little troublesome, it's not difficult for this emperor." Emperor Sang Xiao looked at Su Fong approvingly and nodded. After thinking for a while, he continued, "I also need some extremely precious spiritual items that even this emperor doesn't have." Su Fong hurriedly said, "That's not a problem. Emperor Lords must have forgotten that the peerless imperial people personally promised me that I can take any resources in Yuan Tiangong. If there's anything in Dubby Hall, just take it. If not, I'll bring Brahma Monarch to visit other god clans and forces. I'm sure we can find it." "Visit? Bring Brahma Monarch? You brat. Whoever offends you will be in big trouble." Emperor Sang Xiao laughed loudly. "There's one more thing. I'll have to trouble Emperor Uni Dao." Su Fong then cupped his fists towards Uni Dao and said, "One of my subordinates' divine palace was destroyed by a Luo clan master. I hope Emperor Lord can help him restore his divine palace." After speaking, Su Fong pulled the Frost Start Realm Lord out from his inner world. Before entering Primordius Heavenly Palace, World Lord Frostart had his divine palace destroyed by a Luo clan master and had become a cripple. Su Fong had promised to restore him. Honshu Realm Lord originally thought that Su Fong was trying to win the hearts of the people, so he casually said those words. "Is twos to help to bees, is it? As to the emperors to help." To the point of shocked, and the emperors as he was is it? To the ask of it to this, my it, as to it, to bees it to the end, feel it. It's just a small matter. Leave it to me." Emperor Uni Dao agreed, but his heart was filled with emotions. Ever since the upheaval, the order of the universe had been thrown into chaos. The darkest things in everyone's heart had been exposed. It was rare to see a cultivator like Su Fong, who treated his family, friends, and subordinates so well. It wasn't just Emperor Uni Dao. Emperor Sang Xiao also praised Su Fong. Seeing that Su Fong had nowhere to cultivate, Emperor Sang Xiao asked, "Su Fong, with how important you are right now, you should be able to live anywhere in Primordius Heavenly Palace. Why are you living in Primordius Heaven World?" Su Fong said indifferently, "It doesn't matter. In 100 years, I'll be living in the Saint Temple." Di Yuan had issued a challenge to Su Fong. 100 years later, the two of them would have a battle of life and death. Su Fong was confident that he could defeat Di Yuan. After defeating Di Yuan, he would naturally take back the Sanctum of Sages. When the time comes, you should spare Di Yuan's life. Don't offend the imperial people. Emperor Uni Dao warned Su Fong. He was also worried about Su Fong's future. "I understand." Su Fong nodded. "This is a list of the items you need to reconstruct your subordinate's body. Once you've gathered them, you can contact me at any time." Emperor Sang Xiao took out a jade slip and flew it to Su Fong. Then, he disappeared into the void. Emperor Uni Dao also took the Frost Moon Realm Lord and disappeared into the void. The matter of the Golden Rainbow King and the Frost Moon Realm Lord finally had some progress. Su Fong also had two things to worry about. In the Hunyuan Heaven World, Brahma Monarch personally took action and killed all the reincarnated powerhouses that had entered the Hunyuan Heaven World. The Broken World Barrier was also reinforced, and the Hunyuan Heaven World returned to the Blood Wall, blocking the reincarnated powerhouses outside. A few days later, the ancient Divine Phoenix clan leader and the other upper echelons, including Xuanxin's master, came to visit Su Fong. They offered more than 10 drops of Divine Phoenix blood essence and 5 drops of Ice Phoenix blood essence. Su Fong didn't have any good impression of the ancient Divine Phoenix clan. Xuanxin also didn't show up. The upper echelons of the ancient Divine Phoenix clan knew that Xuanxin had completely broken off all relations with the ancient Divine Phoenix clan. They could only leave in embarrassment. In order to curry favor with the imperial people, the ancient Divine Phoenix clan's reputation was ruined, and they were almost exterminated. They would never regain their former glory. The supreme existence of the imperial people also sent people over. In order to ensure Xuanxin's nirvana, it was foolproof. The supreme existence of the imperial people decided to send Xuanxin to the celestial worthy mountain and ask the mountain guardian to personally help Xuanxin's nirvana. Dan, Su Fang thought for a long time and finally agreed. The supreme existence of the imperial people sent Xuanxin to the mountain guardian not because they were worried about Xuanxin's safety, but because they were worried that if something happened to Xuanxin, it would affect Su Fang and cause their last hope to be lost. In addition, Su Fang guessed that the supreme existence of the imperial people had another intention, which was to use Xuanxin as a hostage. Of course, this was only Su Fang's guess. The mountain guardian was a supreme existence in the world. How could he do such a thing? Su Fang, however, was worried about Xuanxin. If anything happened to him, he would regret it for the rest of his life. Xuanxin's nirvana was Dan's nirvana with the help of the supreme experts from all the worlds. The pill was definitely in the bag, so he agreed to the arrangement of the Emperor race's supreme existence. After sending Xuanxin away, Su Fang felt a sense of loss. QL11 on this day. More than a dozen gods came to Su Fang's formation. Greetings, Saint of Su Fang. Su Fang sensed the aura of the people in the formation and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The Blue Dome Domain Lord? And the Star Billow Domain Lord and Master Koensu? Immediately, Su Fang smiled coldly and asked indifferently, "What's the matter?" The Blue Dome Domain Lord bowed to the inside of the formation. "I was forced by the G people to leave the celestial realm and join the G people. It's too late for regrets. I'm here to apologize to the Saint of Su Fang." Apologize? Inside the formation, Su Fang sneered inexplicably. Su Fang had caused the Blue Dome Domain Lord, the Star Billow Domain Lord, and Master Koensu a lot of grievances. If it weren't for Su Fang, they wouldn't have been able to stay in such a good place in the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. Back then, the G people's first ancestor had become a supreme venerable and overseen the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. The G people ruled over the Hunyuan Heaven Realm with one hand. The G people forced many cultivators from the Celestial Realm to leave the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. The Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others chose to cut ties with the Celestial Realm and join the G people. Although they were forced to do so, Su Fang no longer had a good impression of the Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others because they were no different from fence-sitters. It's a wise decision for you to join the G people. What's wrong with that? As for apologizing, there's no need for that. Su Fang's cold and embarrassed voice came from the formation. The Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others all looked embarrassed and wanted to find a hole to hide in. They regretted their actions to the extreme. Why were they blinded by greed and cut ties with the Celestial Realm and joined the G people? The Blue Dome Domain Lord braced himself and said, "I know that I'm guilty. It's difficult for me to be forgiven by the Saint of Su Fang. However, the G people have been exterminated and we've been treated as the G people's vassals. We're also facing the disaster of being exterminated. Saint of Su Fang, please forgive us and come forward to save us." I see. Su Fang was enlightened. It turned out that the G people had been exterminated. The Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others were naturally unlucky and came to Su Fang for help. Su Fang said indifferently, "The seeds that were planted in the past will bear fruit. Your Excellency, please go back." The Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others looked desperate. They knelt on the ground and begged bitterly. The extermination of the G people was a decree issued by the supreme existence of the imperial people. Who dared to go against it? The Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others had joined the G people, but they also could not escape death. Not only them, but their relatives, subordinates, and tens of millions of cultivators from the Blue Dome star field would also be beheaded. Even if a venerable sovereign came forward to plead for them, it would be difficult to save them. Moreover, with the Blue Dome Domain Lord's status and strength, it was impossible for him to ask a peerless Master God for help, let alone a venerable sovereign. Now, who dared to provoke the G people? The only one who could save them was Su Fong. In the formation, Su Fong closed his eyes and ignored the Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others. Su Fong, Xian Lingzi, transmitted his thought from the inner world. Grandpa, do you want me to save them? They're indeed hateful, but after all, I am from the Kuan Su holy sect and have a close relationship with Master Kuan Su. How can I bear to sit back and do nothing? Well, I will save them again for Grandpa's sake. But this time, I will not save them for nothing. After ending the communication with Xian Lingzi, Su Fong said to the Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others outside the formation, "It's not impossible for me to save you." The Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others were already in despair, but when they heard Su Fong's words, they immediately became spirited. The Blue Dome Domain Lord shouted, "Holy Son, please say it. I can agree to any condition." Su Fong said indifferently, "After saving you, I will shackle you and make you my slaves to avoid any unpleasant things in the future. If you don't agree, just pretend that I didn't say anything." The Blue Dome Domain Lord and the others immediately hesitated.